We're talking about the 2024 campaign. Everybody, please make sure you guys tap the screen, share, all that good stuff. So, there's been an autopsy of the 2024 campaign showing that Harris and the DNC had weak black support the whole time. This is something I've been saying. I've been saying that this was a smokescreen and a lie, that they were all like, oh my God, black people are just losing their minds. They're just so in love with Harris. They said that the day Biden dropped out, and she didn't get, like, because she never actually had won the primary or anything, but the second Biden endorsed her, which was when he dropped out, same time. They said it was 40,000 black women on a Zoom call trying to come together to get her to win. I said cap. I said, I don't believe that at all. Y'all shouldn't have even, if y'all would have said 5,000, I might have been like, maybe I could see that. 40,000 black women on one single Zoom call at a split second's notice that nobody has any recollection of. I want y'all to notice that. There was not you would think that there would be some type of recording of this massive historic Zoom call, that you can't find that on the internet anywhere. Does anybody know a black woman that was on that Zoom call? No. The Zoom call didn't exist, y'all. It didn't exist. And I was saying that from the very beginning. And then the next day, they was all like, 50,000 black men was on the Zoom call. I said, 50,000? Where is the Zoom link where 50,000 black men are just joining? Where is that? Who? Name, out of 40,000 and 50,000, name 10 black people that was on the Zoom call. It didn't happen. That did not happen. And I was saying, the fact that you all are lying about your black support is going to hurt you in the long run. I talked to Luther Campbell. He goes by Uncle Luke. I talked to him. I'm like, hey, the fact that y'all just trying to sit up there and pretend that she's all that in a bag of chips and everybody loves her and not acknowledging the truth, the fact that y'all are doing that, that's not going to work in the long run. That's going to hurt you guys. Y'all need to, face the music. Y'all need to come to terms with reality to see what y'all can do. And they were like, most black people, an abundant percentage of black people are 100% behind. She's flipped every single swing state. I said, okay. I said, all right, okay, y'all do what y'all want to do. And then they kept trying to put this facade out that, the only people who don't like her were misogynist. Even the women, they had internalized misogyny, okay? And that's the only reason. They're just hating on a black woman's success. I said, the way y'all said that most of the community loved her, okay? And the reason why they said that is because they needed the black vote. They needed black support. But if they said that we have a black problem, we have an issue connecting with the black constituents, we had an issue connecting with them, then they would have had a real conversation where she sat down and was like, okay, what do I need to do? And we gave her the list of demands. And that was the thing. If they pretended and fooled people enough to believe that their black support was fine and that they didn't need to do anything, then they wouldn't have to concede to the demands. It was a strategy. It wound up really working the other way against her. But that was the strategy. And I realized that the strategy, because, some of the numbers was even showing it. It was very convincing. It was. Up until Barack Obama. Do you all remember when Barack Obama came out and he was talking to that room of black men and he said to them, he was all like, y'all y'all, Kamala, it's a shame to put a woman down. Remember, he was all like, he was wagging his finger, talking about putting a woman down, and that's how shameful that was. And you think that makes you strong? You think that makes you tough and brave y'all remember that? I said, ooh, they're live. I said that is a sign that they are in major trouble. Because the thing is that Obama sees the real numbers, not what CNN post, MSNBC, or any of these things that trying to give her a boost. But Obama and all of them, they see the real numbers, and they see that the black community was not tracking well coming up to the election. They saw that, and that's why he was all like, that's why this push of, hey, y'all need to stop with all of this quote unquote misogyny and sexism. Y'all need to stop with that. And I'm all like, oh, that's a bad sign. That's a bad sign. The fact that they had to continue to force celebrities, and listen, in every single campaign, there's always a bunch of celebrity endorsements. So that's not new. But the fact that, I mean, I'm talking about it was a flood of all celebrities. I like, that's not going to work this time. That's not going to work this time. Y'all need to come on now. Y'all can't have Cardi B at the thing. And she don't got no influence in the community like that. I was trying to tell him. I told that to Luke. He said I was hating on the black woman. Even the fact that they branded her as a quote unquote black woman, they only did that so they can have the audience, the black voters, I will say, to come out under the guise of quote unquote supporting one of our own. That's why she had that, she cosplayed as a black American, because they wanted to get us in the feeling of, well, we have to quote unquote support one of our own. That's why she was going out there talking about how she cooks greens and cleans them in the bathtub, and she was putting on these southern accents all of a sudden and all that, so we could see her as one of our own. But that didn't work. It didn't work. Let me give me 1 second. I'm gonna start bringing people up, and I want to, y'all have questions, I want to hear them. See what we got going on over here. Let's see what we got going on.
Hello.
Hold on. How you doing?
Good, man. I'm just for the record, I'm Mexican American, so I mean, I know I'm talking outside of my, group, but just wanted to, I'm from Texas, and um, I just want to ask the question. We know that the Democrat Party is putting these fake black people up for president, like Michelle, like Kamala and Obama. Really, Obama was raised by a white woman. He's half white. His dad was African. He tried to cosplay as being an African American and going through the African American struggle, historically, which he did not. He was from a middle class, upper middle class family. So they're putting up these fake black people up for the African American community to embrace and hold up and put them in power. But the question is, why though? Why are they doing it? Where is the Barbara Jordan of this generation, the African American community? That's the politicians that I grew up with in the African American community that really made a difference and stood up for the black community. So I'm still like, why are they putting up these people, and why isn't the black African American community identifying this as like, it's a scam, bro. It's a scam.
Oh no, we are. The problem really is the fact that the Democrat Party has catered to your community. That's the problem. The problem is the fact that, like, as an immigrant, you said you were an immigrant. The problem is the
No,
fact that
I didn't say I was an immigrant. I said I was Mexican American. I'm
yeah,
a native to this
that's
country.
you're an immigrant though.
I'm
That's
native. I'm
oh, you're
I'm
native.
native to
Okay.
this country. Yeah. So
They
I
all say
understand that
that.
you don't.
Anytime you say they're an
No, but
immigrant,
let
no, they're
me.
native.
If,
You're native to America.
if, if,
How are you native from another country?
let me, I can explain it to you, brother. I can explain it to you.
Okay, yeah, explain that. How are you
So
native from another country?
if you know American history, you know that a third
When
of this
okay,
country used
when
to be
did hold
Mexico,
on?
right?
Okay, let me ask you. It's not Mexico anymore. When did
I
your
know that,
family
sir.
okay, when did your family move from the country of Mexico to America?
When my family, if they had moved from Mexico to America, is besides the point.
No, it
The
is the
fact of the
point
matter
because
is,
then you would be an
no, it's
immigrant.
not, sir.
No, no, no,
No, sir.
no. Then stop,
On
stop,
my
sir. Sir,
bloodline,
sir,
my
sir,
ethnic group,
sir, stop. Your grandparents, where were they born?
but where my grandparents were born was what Mexico proper used to be, and includes the
Where is
states that
that?
were
Where is that?
ultimately
Why are you dodging
stolen.
the question?
That
See, there.
doesn't matter
Anytime you mention where
because
they're from, hold
you're
on.
being
Anytime
racist
you
against
mention where
Mexican
they're
people.
from, they get some type of way. Okay.
But your great grand people came from Africa, and I'm not
No,
telling
no,
you nothing
no, no,
about
no, no,
that.
no, 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 no.
Yes.
My people are
My
from America. Where are
forefathers,
your people from?
my forefathers found the New World, and my forefathers were already in here in this
Where were your
continent.
look?
When
Okay,
your
you see that?
forefathers
Hold
came
on,
from
hold on.
Africa,
Not more than
your
likely, not
forefathers
more
didn't.
than likely. He's not. He's more than likely Spanish. Okay,
No, I'm
he's more than
mestizo.
like a lot of y'all like
I'm
to dibble
mestizo.
dabble in that native. Y'all say y'all
I'm
native. To be
mestizo.
very honest with you, but
I'm
more than
mestizo.
likely, hold on, stop,
This is
stop,
the
stop,
problem. This is the
stop,
problem with
stop,
African
stop,
American community,
stop.
bro.
Okay, well since you can't stop, then we're just gonna have to move on. How about that? How about we do that? Here's the thing. Anytime they come up and be like, "Wow, why don't the black community? Why isn't the black community doing? Why this? Why that?" No, well, the black community is realizing that you guys' community is the reason why we're in this situation. All right. The black community has realized really it's the Democrats that are prioritizing you as an immigrant. Why you want to wag your finger at somebody? Why don't y'all do that? Why don't y'all do that? If I was you, I wouldn't be doing that because the Democrats have catered to y'all. That's the problem. The Democrats are catering to you all. And now that we're realizing that, we're altering our behavior. That's what it is. That's what it is. And then the second I say, okay, well, where are your grandparents born? No, my grandparents were born in this place. That's that. No, no, no. And this is anytime you deal with, especially, I don't know what it is, but anytime you deal, especially with a Mexican, they always pull this, well, hold on, I'm not an immigrant, I'm indigenous. Now all of a sudden, they play this 3 card Monty thing. So when you call them out for being an immigrant, they'll say, no, I'm indigenous. How are you indigenous if you're from another country? If you're in America from another country, you said I'm Mexican American, but I'm indigenous. What are you? Okay, because Mexico is not in America. Where were your parents born? Where were they born? They were born at the southern border. I know that because that's why I can tell based off his answer. They were born in the southern border. If not, his parents were born there. And then they came up here. He is an immigrant. He is an immigrant. And they're all ashamed of it. Don't let them play that, oh no, I'm indigenous and America used to be Mexico. Okay, well, where were you from though? We're not playing that game of are there some indigenous Mexicans? No. Where are you from though? Okay? They are not indigenous. We're not gonna sit up there and play that. All right?
Big, big bro. On
Sir.
on the topic of like what they be saying where you from, what if your DNA, and I don't know how accurate that is, what if your DNA is just tracing you back to Africa?
There's an issue when it comes to DNA because a lot of that goes off of markers. And a lot of the markers and the science of it is just really calculated estimates
Okay.
that go off of markers. And most of the time, especially going back to trace it maybe hundreds of, if you do it for like your immediate family, more than likely you can find it. But the farther down you go, the more bloodlines you're connected to, the less accurate it is.
Right.
Okay. So that's why they'll say, oh, well, you're 20% Nigeria. Well, Nigeria didn't even exist 100 something years ago. It wasn't even a country back then. So how am I 20% that? My ancestry goes back way farther than that. So that's a bad faith argument that they use to try to prove where people are from, and I'm indigenous and you're not indigenous and all that. And here's the craziest part about that. Most of the people claiming to be indigenous today, they're not doing a DNA test. All of these people on the reservations and on the treaties and stuff like that, they not doing a DNA test. They were excluding people based off of DNA before DNA science even came out, because that only came out in the 80s. People were only able to test DNA in the 80s, and then still that was a newer thing. So that DNA stuff is not as foolproof as people make it seem. All right.
Yes, sir.
BX, how you doing?
Sorry, I was commenting to somebody who said immigrants know who is supposed to be in America, and I was saying, and they know they don't supposed to be in America. It's not their right; it's their privilege. Only one group really fought for the right to be here, right? That's foundational Black Americans. So
Yeah.
I need for people to cut it out. If you are extended anything here in America is because my people fought for it. Afro's people fought for it, right? And so this becomes the issue. We have people like Kamala, child of immigrants, who literally says she's not going to do anything for Black people. And the immigrants think we're supposed to just accept that and vote for her. She ain't supposed to be in this country. So I don't know what happened before I entered. Was the fellow, was he immigrant?
Yeah, he was a Hispanic American. He was a Mexican American. And he was all like, why are there fake Black people in politics, and why don't the quote unquote African American community do something about it? I said, well, the fake Black people are there to protect y'all. They're there to protect immigrants. Then he's like, I'm not an immigrant. Because the thing is that you're trying to flex about quote unquote fake Black people in there. Don't worry about that. Don't worry about that. If anything, you should be worrying about what's going on in your homeland, because these are the only people, the fake politicians, the cosplayers, the tethers and all that. Those are the people protecting y'all with these protective orders and sanctuary cities and things like that. Y'all sitting up there trying to flex. That's their problem. Okay, y'all trying to flex and beat your chest like y'all invincible. Okay, the second we get them in office, look what happened. Now ICE is running all up and through y'all houses, getting y'all up out of here. And then here y'all coming to Black people, please, please help me. Nah, keep that energy when y'all was beating y'all chest, when y'all was all big and bad, and how we needed to be more like y'all, and how we needed to have a closer knit community. Okay, all right. And then when ICE come in there, y'all sit up there with the Black and the brown community. We need to understand we're in this together. They're deporting you too. We said, no, don't even say that. Don't even say that. So yeah.
Okay, so the fear mongering will not work on foundational Black Americans because we fought for the 13th, 14th, 15th Amendment. That is ours. That is our right. That was a privilege that y'all abused. Now look at that, right? Y'all can't migrate to a place and then look down on the people who fought for everything. If that was the case, fight for your homeland to have a drop of what you are afforded here. And I'm sick of the Mexicans. Y'all didn't even have what is now Mexico for 20 years, right? Y'all sold that. Y'all sold it. And there's no return on sold goods for some immigrant classes. Y'all became willing tools of white tea supremacy, and Mexicans literally fought for the right to be identified as white tea. What are we talking about here? Don't come complaining to Black Americans. Go to the government, because we're not going to help y'all anymore over ourselves. We are facing ethnocide. Go look it up.
Yep.
So, okay. So what happened with the autopsy shows weak Black support?
the autopsy is showing that she had a little over $1 billion. She had a little, I'm not exactly sure, but it was over $1 billion. And they said that that money was not being used enough to galvanize the black community. And they said that she lost because black turnout was low. And she needed to put more money, or because it wasn't just about the money, but there needed to be more effort into engaging black voters to turn out for her. This is what the autopsy is saying. Now, when we were saying it, we were told that's not true. That's not true. Black people turned out. Now this is their official autopsy, because they knew it from before. This is their official autopsy saying, no, there wasn't black support. There wasn't enough black support. When they was all like 92% of black women and then 85% of black men. No. The percentage of the turnout is that high, but the turnout in and of itself was low. See, that's a huge difference. The
Big bro,
percentage of all of the people who turned out was not high enough to get her these swing states and win her the office. This is what the autopsy is saying. And they were saying that they had a serious black problem stemming from Biden. Kamala came in. It kind of lowered the flame a little bit, but then it raised back up when she started dodging questions about reparations. She didn't really want to do an interview. She was kind of all over the place. Then more black people started to get turned off from what she was saying in her campaign, and she started to lose more black support. All right, this is what they're saying.
that shit is manipulated, man. That voting apparatus shit is manipulated big time, bro.
Okay. Oh, okay.
I'm getting it. So what we do, me and Afro monologues, we go back and forth. Then I set the decorum, and we call on people in the manner that they came up, the order that they came up, right?
Yeah.
So please stick to that thought. We deserve to pull our support back from candidates who have dropped the ball on us time and time again. The immigrants are so emboldened now, the melanated immigrants, because we know what the white tea immigrants going to do. The melanated immigrants will no longer cosplay or play around like they're going to do something for us. They're telling us. She told us what she was going to do. Then she turned around and touched the Freedmen's Bank. That was not her ancestors. That was not the Native Americans. That was not the Latinos. That was not the this, that, and the third. For her to go ahead and say they deserve to have something like our Freedmen's Bank, and then she went and did whatever it was she did. We're tired, right? We're no longer accepting, well, we're black anyway. They're not going to do nothing for us. Our ancestors would have never accepted half the shit that we're accepting. They were about change. So from now on, it's policy over party. But I got to tell you, Afro, I don't believe her when she's talking about reparations. I don't believe Ayanna Presley, who is trying to dangle an HR 40, a bill for a study of reparations written by Caribbean, so it doesn't lock out the Caribbean. All these people are dangling carrots so that they could get the black American vote back. Sorry, their time is up. And so are some of their seats. Don't forget, sanctuary cities must end. So if you're in a sanctuary city, the couch is not your option. Anywhere else, I really can't speak to. But sanctuary city status has basically harmed and made New York similar to a third world country in the cleanliness, the picking up sanitation, the way the immigrants are just, it's a mess. But we could get it back. But a Democrat ain't the way to go. I'll land there, Afro. Do you want me to set the
Yeah, you can
decorum?
set it real quick. And
Okay, so thank you to everybody who came up and went on their mic. TikTok friendly language only. You cannot cuss on the panel or in the chat. I'm trying to give y'all warnings before I mute y'all for a minute, just to erase the unfriendly TikTok language. We will go in order, and when you are allowed to speak, please leave with your ethnic group. So I'm a Black American, but I culturally and socially identify as a foundational Black American, as does the host. What that means is that we can trace our direct ancestry to an 1870 USA census. We're not doing the mainland, America, the Caribbean is part of the, no, we're not doing that. 1870 USA census. If you cannot trace your ancestors to an 1870 1970 USA Census, you are your parents' country of origin. So if you have two immigrant parents from Haiti, Jamaica, Trinidad, Bahamas, Nigeria, Ghana, you are that country's origin. And that's fine. It's not, everybody's allowed to speak here. We understand by ethnics the proper and respectable terms so that you can honor both your ancestries, right? But both your ethnic groups, both your parents, is to say you're bi ethnic. Please don't start off with your Caribbean and then when you feel like we're not listening to you or agreeing with you, throw in you got some Black American ancestry. I'm gonna leave with what you led with. Okay. Right. See that? Latinos, we understand y'all have descendancy from Africa, but in the U.S. social construct, it doesn't make sense for you to come up and talk about we all Black. Because no, we not. When they talk about the Black community, they don't mean a Latino, a Caribbean, a Haitian, or an African. They're talking about Black Americans. So we lead by ethnic group, race is unconstitutional, or we would have affirmative action, DEI, and the Fairness Fund would still be able to give Black people their startup capital. So it's about ethnic group now, race is unconstitutional. That's all we mean, okay, guys?
All right.
Thank you. And so see the orange heart by Afro Lee's name, click the orange heart, complete the daily mission, and claim your points. It'll keep him in the algorithm and unlock some really cool gifts. Now we can style a heart meets Afro. So I don't know if you noticed that. Afro Lee also has a super fan option. He has 4 dedicated super fans, and we're looking to get more. You get panel priority towards the end of the live. And did you work on the stickers yet, Afro?
Yeah, I've worked on some stuff. I think I
Uh,
got a couple of good stickers. I gotta find a way to put them out, but I got some good stickers coming out.
Good,
I
good.
think they'll
So
like it. I do think they'll like it. I'll announce it on State of the Union thing. That's what I'm gonna
oh,
do.
good, because that
Yeah.
helps the chat. Like we like to cut up and maybe a sticker or respond to the person who's tormenting us in the comments. I'm just joking. They don't torment us, but they sure do troll us. Afroly also has a gift goal. Right now, it's a finger heart thing there. Go ahead and help him achieve his gift goal. If you turn your camera on, please make sure that it's TikTok friendly. You have you're fully clothed, no smoke, no puff puff, and no liquor. Okay, water bottles is fine. I think that's it. Anything else I'm missing? Share the live out. Tap 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 tap
Yes,
the
share the
screen.
live. Share it. Share the
And thank you
live.
for everybody for coming back. If you aren't subscribed to the channel or follow Afro Elite and you just ventured in the room, go ahead and click the follow button. He allows everybody to talk here, whether you agree with him or not. I land.
All right. Thank you. Let's get to LC. LC. Final chance. LC. All right. Well, LC's not here. Then let's get to It's a Breeze.
Yo, how you doing, fam? Y'all can hear me?
Yeah, we good. We good.
Yes, sir. I like this prompt you got here because it shows a lot and it speaks to a lot. The last election, anybody who actually knew anything and was talking to people in person, we all knew Kamala Foundation was very shaky. No one really claimed her for real. She was out here pandering to the black community in the worst way possible. She had the worst celebrities ever come up. She was saying the most remedial talking points in the media. She came up saying she wasn't going to do anything for black people. And even the president she was under was someone who pushed a crime bill to mass incarcerate our people. So it's a lot of confusion going on, like these Democrats are for us. They're not. They never will be. They're for the globalist agenda. They want to flatten everything out in blackness so everyone could leech and eat off the benefits and moral equity we built in this country, and we'll no longer stand for it, and we are no longer party based. We'll be policy based for as long as we exist, and we'll make sure that our people get our tangibles, and we push for group economics and the liberation of our people. And I'll land right there.
Now, that's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. Appreciate that, my brother. Now let's get to Queen. Let's get to Queen Marvelous.
Hello, Alpha
How you
Elite,
doing?
and hello, BX, the gate.
The
I'm
gatekeeper,
Black
how are
American.
you?
Fine, thank you. I'm Black American, FBA through and through. My dad is from Mississippi, and mom, Chicago.
Mm.
Can you hear me?
Yep, I hear you.
Okay. Yeah, there's no immigrants in my family.
All right. What do you have to say about the
The prompt,
prompt? Yes.
yeah, I was believing for her not to win, and when we were doing that couch thing, I did a couch thing, you know, no tangibles, no vote. At the time, that's what we were doing, and that's why I believe that's how she lost.
Mm-hmm.
And then they would say that we the reason she didn't win, and that's when they got mad at us and all that. The immigrants got mad,
Mm-hmm.
and the pen. But yeah, that's on them too, in a way, because they should be doing what's right. Her morals was not right. She was for the living position, how she was going by with the babies.
Mm.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
I'm trying to use correct words,
Yeah. You trying to be careful.
Yep.
Yep.
But yeah, she was doing that stuff. And then she was talking about, like we were saying, that she can't do nothing for us, Black Americans. But at the same breath, she was doing something for her own people. That's
Mm.
being a hypocrite. Can we say that?
That's true. Yeah.
We can say
That's
hypocrite.
true. Yeah, you can say that. I'm gonna let you land, and then we're gonna
Oh, okay, I'm
get to
sorry. But yeah, but don't forget to vote for turn red lady. She's Chicago. 202. We try to get rid of Brandon Johnson out of here.
Keep it
Mm.
coming.
Appreciate you. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. All right, let's get to one black, one Blake.
It's
Oh,
Blake. It's just Blake. I couldn't use Blake, so I just put one and then Blake O. But
yeah.
first and foremost, Afro, I just want to say thank you for all your work that you do. I catch you here. I catch you on YouTube. I catch your reaction videos. I just want to say you are doing a great job with all your content. So thank you for everything you're putting out.
Appreciate you. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Sincerely, I do.
So I couldn't get with Kamala Harris for the campaign for the simple fact that I actually live in California and I actually got to see her leadership, and her leadership just didn't do well when she's sitting there talking on podcast or on the Breakfast Club talking about how she inhaled, but yet she incarcerated mass Black American men in here in California with her policies. A lot of Black American mothers in California were fined and some were even jailed because their students weren't going to school or they were committing truancies or they had just had something going on. So a lot of the Black community suffered under her leadership as AG. So I just don't think that people really took that into account, that her leadership as AG and then her leadership as vice president, or what little bit of leadership that she did have. I just didn't think that she did enough or she had enough to actually be the president of the United States and yet alone be the leader of the Black community, which is what they were trying to make her, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, they said, oh, she's the most qualified. She's been at this and this and this and this and this. Well, let's look at her leadership under those positions to tell how qualified she is or is not.
Wow.
You know. But thank you for that. Yeah, appreciate that. Let's get to Black Energy.
Hey everybody, I hope everybody's doing good.
Yeah, we're good. We're good, sir.
Yeah, I think the Black community is just tired of these leaders, right? We elect these leaders to act in our best interests, but really the system has legalized corruption, right? I mean, lobbying exists. This is literally the process in which corporations buy out our politicians to act against the interests of the people, right? I mean, there's a reason why Obama and George Bush are related. All presidents have been related except for one. It's because they choose who the candidates are, and then we vote from the choices they give us. Right? We know that there has to be somebody more qualified than Kamala Harris to run the country. there's definitely been more people out here on the ground floor that help the community more than Kamala Harris has ever done from a Senate seat. It just shows that the process is corrupt. Black people are more and more, really removing their faith from the democratic system because they're finding out it's not democratic. And we elect these black people to represent us, and they don't. Our communities really have not changed very much since I'd say at least the 80s, when the crack epidemic took over. So
Ooh, you gotta
I'll land it there.
okay, that word epidemic, the C word epidemic, you gotta be careful with that. Any type of substance, harmful substance, you can't say that like that. You gotta code that in some way.
And can I chime in here because we asked for everyone's ethnic group. If you could do
Yeah.
your ethnic group, Black Energy.
I'm indigenous to the Americas.
The United States of America and not the Caribbean. It makes a difference.
Lineage spans across Central, North, and South America.
So you're
Okay.
melanated. Got it.
Okay. Where are your parents from? Where are your mom from and your dad from?
My mom's from Tulsa, Oklahoma. My father is from Chattanooga, Tennessee.
Okay, so they were both in the area of the United States of America. They're both indigenous to the United States of America.
We've been here for thousands of years.
Okay, because you just said that you have ancestry from North, Central, and Southern America.
Right, they span all throughout the Americas and some of the Caribbean too.
What family do you have that spans from the Caribbean?
Just different ancestral lineages that go back through time.
On what side? Your mother's side, your father's side?
Both.
So their great grandparents or their grandparents come from anywhere outside of America, the Caribbean or Mexico or anything like that?
Well, our lineage has been here for thousands of years, but I assume they've traveled, different continents as well.
You're assuming that, or are you saying that as a fact?
I'm confident. I could state it. I can confidently say, yeah, we've traveled outside of America.
Your grandparents were from where?
Like Tulsa, kind of Midwest, kind of South.
Let me ask you this final question. When did your parents immigrate, mother or father's family, immigrate to the United States of America?
Probably more than 4,000 years ago, 5,000 years ago.
Okay. So you're one of those, we were always in the Americas and you count all the Americas, right?
Well, like human beings knew about the Americas before 400 years ago, yeah.
Okay, but you're saying that you said for a fact that you have family from the Caribbean. That is what you just said.
Yeah.
And then I'm asking what part of your family comes from the Caribbean?
Both sides.
But you're saying they were always here, but both sides.
Yeah, we've been in the Americas for thousands of years.
No,
generations of my lineage have been spanning north, south, and Central America.
Let's be specific. Let's be specific. Your family came here after 1776, correct or incorrect?
No, very incorrect. They've been here for thousands of years.
Then why are you saying otherwise?
Because I'm saying they've been here for thousands of years.
But now you're saying they've been in the Caribbean too. And then you have family.
Yeah, we have lineage. My lineage spans not just to North America, but also South America and Central America too.
We're going to just move on so we can be fair to everybody else's time. But see, this is the stuff. He knows exactly what we're asking, and you're deliberately doing this. You're doing this on purpose. You're doing it on purpose. All right. Now everybody gave you a chance. I asked you several questions, and you're being incredibly vague with your lineage.
I'm indigenous to the Americas. What do you mean, brother?
To the Americas.
Yeah.
And then I'm asking, where else outside of the United States of America is your family from?
Well, Afro people are people, literally are people. They're indigenous to Australia, Papua New Guinea.
Okay, I got it.
All 7 continents.
All right, I got it. If that's the case, then you can say we're indigenous to the world then. So what's the difference then?
All 7 continents.
So you wouldn't just say I'm indigenous. You would state what nation or country your family's from.
Well, my family's indigenous to the Americas, which is what I The
The
Americas.
Americas is not a country.
No, it's more than a country.
It's not a country. It's a
It's more than a
landmass.
country.
Is
Exactly.
yes. So what country is your family from, and you're being vague about that?
Oh, country. I mean, now we call it the United States of America, I guess.
Thank you. All right. Y'all see that? Y'all see it? Let's get to night night.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for having me on the panel. That kind of stuff just throws everything off. Like I forgot like most of the stuff I was going to say. But yes, I am Black American, FBA, indigenous to the United States of America. My family is from Louisiana, Mississippi, and Oklahoma. Boom, there it is. I don't have to go running
Hold
around
on, night
all
night.
these different
Night night,
things.
real quick. How easy was that? That was
It
pretty
was
easy,
easy
wasn't
as hell. It
it?
just poured out of
That
me.
was pretty easy, wasn't it? That was pretty easy, wasn't it?
Yes, sir.
Okay, well, thank you.
Yep.
Thank you.
So why'd you
I
guys
just want to
skip
know
me?
I'm not asking rocket science questions. Okay.
Why'd you guys skip me?
Well, you had
Oh,
already
go ahead,
went,
sir.
so
I'll wait.
no. You had already went, so I'm just trying to get to the people who haven't went at all yet.
I honestly, you guys, I just wanted to piggyback on what one Blako said. He is absolutely telling the truth about Kamala Harris here in California. In the late 80s and all throughout the 90s, her policies ran havoc throughout our community. A lot of our young men were being incarcerated for I don't even know what the code word here puff puff. And they were making money that way. And now you look, we have all these puff puff dispensaries everywhere. Everyone is making money off of it but us. But once upon a time we were, and she incarcerated a lot of our young men. And she also incarcerated a lot of our young Black American mothers, because the truancy laws that if your kids were not in school, you would face jail time. I mean, she went in on our community. When I saw her, the first time I saw her, I was in San Francisco. And once upon a time, you could go to the mayor's office and actually go speak with them. And it was Willie Brown. And me and my friends, we all went because we really liked Willie Brown. And we went and she was there. And you guys, the energy she gave was just, I can't even explain it. That's for a whole nother story. But I mean, she was scandalous at the same time, putting all these policies in place to lock up our people. And she was having a scandalous relations with the most famous mayor of San Francisco, Willie Brown. So she ran havoc through our community. If she would have became president of the United States, can you imagine what she would have done? This woman is not for us. She has never been, like, ever been for us. Like, never. There is not a time where I cannot see her ever being for us. She ran havoc through the Bay, y'all. She did. She really did. I would never vote for her, ever. This woman is just pure. Can you say evil? Because that's what she is. And that's all I wanted to say. I lived it. I have some friends that have been incarcerated due to her policies. That's all I wanted to say. Thank you, guys.
Appreciate that. Thank you very much for that. I'm sorry to hear that, though. I am sorry to hear that. Let's get to KK and then cousin, if you or the counselor, not cousin, the counselor.
Hey, how you doing, Afro Elite?
I'm good. How you doing, brother?
Not too bad, bro. FBA Indigenous family is from Kemper, Mississippi, and also from Greenville, Mississippi. FBA all the way to the heart. I was gonna say some things, but it seemed like everybody kind of beat me to the punch in regards to what's already been stated as the obvious concerning Kamala. I just don't like the fact that they continue to play these games where they want to try to manipulate and put a black face in there, even if they're not indigenous to this continent or to this area. They just always try to play these games, and they try to dumb us down in any way possible with the little games that they play. And they try to, like, I don't know how to put it. They always want to, like, put stuff in front of us to, like, stimulate our mind and say, oh, we got this entertainer, we got this person and this person. But in theory, that doesn't matter. We want tangibles. We want real policies put in place, and that has not happened. And until we continue, we just got to continue to fight and push for the real change. So, like I said, I appreciate everything that you're doing, but by no means are we dumb to the fact. But I just think it's kind of frustrating when you get some of these folks on here and you ask them just basic, simple questions, they can never seem to answer. And it just wastes time when you have all these intelligent people on here that offer so much information. So keep doing what you're doing. I really, really appreciate it, brother. I mean that.
Mm-hmm. Before we get to the counselor, thank you very much. We have to be careful with tricky little language like that opens up the door. When he was all like, well, I'm indigenous to the Americas. Now let's say for the sake of the argument, he's a foundational Black American. Let's say that for the sake of the argument. If he identifies with, well, I'm just indigenous to the Americas, the next thing you know, anybody in the Americas can just say, I'm an indigenous to the Americas. All right. We cannot allow that to be a thing, because next thing you know, you'll have some person from Mexico, you'll have some person from Jamaica, you'll have some person from Brazil, you'll have people from all over the quote unquote Americas, you'll have a Colombian and all that say, hey, I'm indigenous to the Americas, so therefore I get to speak on this this topic. No, we're not doing the indigenous to Americas. What country does your ancestry stem from? Not where they live today, not even where they were born. What country does your ancestry stem from? Do they come from? Our ancestry comes from America. We built it. We are a part of it. We're a part of the Constitution. We're a part of the infrastructure. We're a part of the laws. We're a part of the history. We are America. We built it. That's where our ancestry comes from. Anything outside of that is an immigrant. It don't even matter if you were born here or your parents. You are an immigrant. That's cool. Say that then. Don't hide. Be honest. Let's get to the counselor.
Yes, Black American, mom and pops, Kansas,
Hello?
Oklahoma, and
Yeah,
South
hold on,
Carolina.
Okay.
Both of them born here in the United States. For Kamala, I gotta say, if I had to pick between her and the current, hands down. And so it's hard for me to get up here and say otherwise, although
Wait, hands
everyone,
down what? Hands down what?
excuse me?
You said if you had to pick between her and the current, hands down. And like hands down what? You pick the current or her, or hands down
Come
what?
on. Yeah, her. Come on, by all means. And so
Okay.
what
I was just being clear on that.
yeah, so what I'm confused about is we sit up here talking about her and we don't understand what's currently going on.
Who
And
said? Okay, I'm gonna let you finish before I respond.
okay. And
Sometimes I gotta
so
reel myself back to let the person go ahead.
right.
All right, you got it.
But I understand what y'all saying about her and her policies and so on and so forth. Right. But at the end of the day, if this person ain't doing right and this person ain't doing right and Congress ain't doing right, then what's the solution?
Well, the
Not land.
solution is black empowerment. That's the solution to every problem. I think the solution to every problem pretty much in the world is black empowerment. I think when you empower black people, pretty much everything is going to be solved. I think that's the cure to a lot of diseases. I think that's the cure to world hunger. I think that's the cure to what y'all call it, like glaciers melting and all that stuff, is black empowerment. Just black empowerment is going to fix it. Black people going to invent some things that's going to freeze the glaciers again and cure cancer and all that. Black empowerment is every day. This is
What we
answer to
waiting
everything.
on? What we waiting on?
But hold on. Let's dial it back. Let's be for real. You said hands down you would pick her, Trump. The issue, and I'm not trying to make anybody like or dislike Trump or anything, but the issue is every single time we were talking about the flaws of Harris, and the prompt is about the new release 2024 campaign Autopsy. All right. But anytime we talk about the flaws of Harris, anytime we talk about the flaws of the Democrats, it's always, well, Trump, y'all know Trump. Well, what about Trump? Trump is worse. Trump is worse. Okay. And let's say that's your opinion, and I'm not even trying to be here and change that. But if we were talking about Trump, you wouldn't be bringing up Kamala, the Democrats, anybody. You wouldn't even be bringing them up. And that's the problem. We can't have an honest conversation before somebody tries to deflect to Trump. And that's why we can't fully hold them accountable. That's my part. But let me ask you this now. What do you think that Harris would do for foundational black Americans that Trump would not do? What do you think, what benefit do you think for our community in particular we would have in her being in office versus Trump being in office?
Oh, so the empowerment of the strides of I'm a veteran, retired veteran, and then I've been working for the government for an additional 20 years.
Okay.
So
Thanks for your
the
service.
empower
Yep, go ahead.
so the empowerment of black people when black people are making strides in federal buildings or in positions of leadership and then being systematically targeted and being discriminated against, and it's like, and then so you're gonna roll back all the strides of the accomplishments of what we've been trying to get accomplished and trying to do, which include trying to be black empowered, and then they
Okay.
trying to erase all that.
Let's be clear. Okay. From my understanding, what you're saying is that we would have a better chance at federal jobs, right?
I'm talking
Or
about positions
better
in,
opportunity, higher access and scalability.
yes.
That's what you think she would do. That's what you think she would do for black people.
But when you say her, I'm saying who moves the needle? We point the
Okay,
needle
well,
towards.
sir, and see, this is where the goalposts keep shifting and moving. We're talking about her. You said you would pick
So
her
yes, yes,
over
yes, yes,
Trump.
yes,
So
yes,
now I'm asking, okay,
yes.
what do you think she would do for black people? Now, okay, fine. Oh, okay. Now let me ask you, did she ever imply, or when did she imply she was going to do that? She was going to look out for black people in particular with anything.
Now, no one's going to systematically sit up there and say, "Oh, I'm going to specifically pick an ethnic group and look out for them." You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
They did it for immigrants.
All right, but they do it for other people, though. Are you going to deny that they do that? Specifically call out and address the issues of other people while ignoring us? Are you gonna deny that?
I'm not going to deny it. I mean,
All
if facts
right.
are facts. See, the problem with me is if you can't, if an orange is orange, a orange is orange. It's facts is facts, facts is facts, and that's the
Okay.
issue. When people see, the problem is, and once
Well,
again, being a veteran, when you speak facts, then I land on facts. You feel me?
okay. Let me ask you this, so we can be fair. What would you want of a politician to do, or to at least promise, before you gave them your vote for presidency?
Have an agenda. You know what I'm saying? Have an
Okay.
agenda. Have a means to accomplish the agenda. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. Well,
And make it
what
make
is in the
sense.
what is in the agenda? Because all presidents have an agenda, all politicians, and they all have an agenda. What do you want in the agenda?
So
What is your agenda that you would want them to have?
so on the issue of the economy, okay, boom.
Okay.
How do we create jobs? How do we stimulate the economy? Um, how do we become non-dependent on things that causes havoc within the world, such as what's going on currently with
Okay.
with oil and so on and so forth? I mean, but then again, with that particular person, they have an agenda. Can they accomplish the agenda? What's the
Okay. Well,
feasibility?
all right, sir. Here's the thing. Now, I asked you that. You answered. I appreciate your answer. Did y'all notice that his agenda was not connected to black? It wasn't connected to the black community. His agenda was connected to the overall economy and putting jobs in the economy.
Right.
First and foremost, it was not what is done for the black community. First and foremost is done, well, what is in the best interest of everybody. Okay? Y'all notice that, right? And this is
Yeah, kumbaya
the
kind of thing.
this is our issue when we talk about politicians and all that, because they're making it seem as if they have the same agenda and goal that we do. Their first and foremost primary agenda is not what is in the best interest of the black community, which is why when I asked, he gave a vague answer about federal jobs. That's what it is.
I gotta say this
And if
about
you're not
federal
thinking
jobs.
about what is in the best interest of the black community, sure, you would pick her.
So I
But
wanted.
for all of us who do, no, we're not going to pick her.
I'm sorry, Afro. So I got to cut. I want to cut in. I want to kind of piggyback. Even federal jobs is not secure if you live in places like New York because they have to pick a certain amount of Spanish-speaking people first. Okay, so I want to just say that. I also want to say this. You said something about protections. I was eating, stuff in my face, so I didn't really come off the mic. But didn't Marcellus Williams, wasn't he, even though the DNA test said that he did not do it, his DNA wasn't on the weapon, wasn't he still unalived by his state? I
No.
didn't hear Biden or Harris speak up for that. We are not protected as Black Americans. She already told us she ain't doing anything specifically for us. And it sounds like he's doing the whole vote blue no matter who or lesser of two evils. We're moving forward, and Trump is American first. He's America first. And nobody had an issue with Trump until he came out as a Republican. Everybody was still taking pictures with Trump after Central Park, after he made the statements or whatever he said about Hispanics. Everybody still loved Trump until he came out as a Republican. But guess what? He's American first, and illegals got to go. Kamala is actually a child of immigrants, and she's immigrant first. That's why the border looked like that. She was the border czar. I'll land there, y'all.
Let's get to Blue Fire.
Good evening, y'all. Good evening. Long time. I haven't been on the panels
Hi,
for a minute.
Blue.
How you
I,
doing?
I'm doing well. I just want to say this. A lot of people don't fail to realize the reason why a lot of Black people are Democrats today was due to an immigrant named Shirley Chisholm, and they used her to trick us to vote blue.
Mm,
In the same way how they using Kamala Harris, they use Barack Obama. They will use people that look like you but not you, because they don't have no they don't really have any ties to this land. We were owed a debt, and that was promised, was supposed to be paid. They don't have the same fight as Black Americans. So when people sit up there and say, well, I will vote for Kamala over Donald Trump, Kamala, when you look at her policies, she really didn't have nothing to offer. And a lot of the policies, and this is why people need to stop voting on people personalities and how they look, how they sound, and how they look, and start actually really doing research on their policies. A lot of these policies are not new. These are cycle policies that were never put on the table. They recycled them, like the affordable health care. That wasn't created by Obama, but they got you to think that Obama came up with that. That was actually created by the the Republican Party during Ronald Reagan administration. So when people say, well, their policy, these are not actually their policies. These are recyclable policies that they're just digging up out of the grave of abandoned policies and then putting them back on the floor
mm.
to get them passed. So a lot of people need to stop saying vote blue for not matter who. No, vote on the policy. Your vote is your interest. And if you're not getting nothing, if you're not getting anything for your interest, then you should not be voting for people that's going to ignore you. They only come out every 4 years for you to vote for them during the presidential election. And I land there.
All right. Yeah, that's a good point. The policies. They say when you're running a campaign, politicians, they want to be very friendly and warm and welcoming to people. So people will want to have a beer with them, or people will want to invite them for dinner. They want them to be that family friendly that people be all like, "Oh, that mayor is so nice. I would have dinner with him. I can hang out with him. I could do this." I'm here to let you all know, as Black Americans, we shouldn't be thinking like that as far as any politician at all. We should not be thinking about how we like them, how we don't like them. Okay, you're never going to have a dinner with these people, and if you were, so what? You're never going to be kicking it with these people. They're not going to be texting buddies. They're not going to come over to watch the game. You're not going to go to their house to watch the game. See, these people, they allow certain shills to do that, to invite to White House parties. I'm not. Here's why I can be so unapologetic as far as all politicians, because I'm not trying to go to. Hold on, the mic is unmuted. Oh my god, I'm not trying to go to nobody's cocktail party. I'm not trying to go to nobody's big White House brunch or anything. I'm not trying to go to nobody's little event or anything like that. If I was ever to go to any of that stuff, I would be going there straight up as a journalist. Omega, your mic is muted. Okay. It would be straight up there, and I wouldn't be sitting up there sipping wine or champagne or whatever. It'd just be to asking and answering questions. But I don't even want to go there, to be honest, because that's not even the best time to do that. The thing is that we should look, in my opinion, we should all look at all of these people as people we will never have any type of personal interaction with. Once you separate the personalities from the politician, then you can get straight down the middle to the policies. Act like they're all the same. This is all an act. This is all a facade. All of their personalities. How funny they are. How charismatic they are. How attractive they look. All of that is a facade. It's fake. What is their policies? What have they done politically beforehand and now? That's the only thing that matters. Everything else is fake. And if we can look at it like that, if we can put their personalities aside, their gender aside, their race aside, even if we can put all of that aside and then say, you know what is the policy? I promise you, we won't mess up then. We won't mess up if we're looking straight at that and only at that. We mess up when we start factoring all these other things, and then that starts tipping the scale in their favor and all that. That's when we mess up. We mess up when we factor all that other stuff and start curving their grade. That's when we mess up. If we were to look at their policies and say, I'm not judging you based off of nothing. You get no more points for being black than being white. You get no more points for being young than being old. You get no more points from being a male than being a female or whatever. I'm looking at the policies. That's it. We won't mess up no more. We won't. I know we won't.
Okay, I kind of want to call attention to the fact that you only have 62.4K likes, and there's over 230 people in the room, and there's many probably in the hallway just watching. You know, the circling. Y'all go ahead and power tap the screen for us. Get Afro up to at least 75K. He does have a gift goal, a super fan option, and also complete the daily heart meets. And share the live out. Let's get some fresh perspectives in here. No trolls, please. No trolls. I finished, Afro.
All right, thank you. Let's get to Terriana.
Hey family, happy X. How you all doing?
Hey.
This fly. First of all, I'm sick of all these tethers coming up here trying to pretend to be us and tell us who and what we should vote for. Long as the Democrats was in, they were happy. We voted them in then against They had never done nothing for us. Obama on back. And let's call a spade a spade. Joe Biden walked off the podium at a press conference to go to the ice cream truck. You know what that's called in the real world? That's Alzheimer's. Because that's what he had. So guess what? At the end of the day, the person who hurt us when she was in Congress and the person who hurt us then was Kamala Harris. So at the end of the day, all you tethers, stop coming up here trying to pretend and act like you are us trying to tell us anything about anything because you knows nothing. Okay, we know where you do know. You just want to cosplay and pretend like you don't know and that we did know. See, we hooked to everybody game and everything now. So please, you all, stop coming up here with this fake pretending to be one of us, telling us what and who we should vote for. You vote for who you want. When we did not notice all you all racism and HATE for us, we didn't speak up on it. You didn't care who we voted for because it was always in your best interest. Okay? For anybody to have just listened to the young lady say how many black males that she agreed and parents that she got locked up just for her own ego, for you to come on this panel and say amongst me, my brothers and sisters, foundational black Americans, you should be ashamed of yourself. Because guess what? We don't owe none of y'all nothing, nor her. Guess what? We've been doing wonderful. Even if she is or ain't in office, but we're going to make it our business to make sure the Democrats don't be in office this time. So at the end of the day, we will never vote against our best interests. We will never. Because to please and make sure you guys are happy, because if you really want to know, I'm going to say it, I'm going to call a spade a spade. You all were worse to black Americans at some point in time than the white T-man to me. You have no loyalty. You humiliated us. You disrespected us and you treat us like trash. So you all please stop coming up here cosplaying, pretending to be us and acting like you with us because you never been. So at the end of the day, have a nice day and go home and vote. I see y'all going through a lot of stuff to vote, especially Africa. They voting. Get on board. Look and see who you want. Because right now, you all have nothing for us.
Mm-hmm.
Have a nice day, good people.
Thank you, sister. Appreciate you.
I'm
Let's
gonna
get
cut it. I'm gonna cut in real quick. Thank you for having me up here, Everly, and BX. I love you.
I love you too.
thank you, Blue. Appreciate you.
I do miss you. I'm gonna message you after this live though.
Yeah, I will.
Let's get to Do. Do. At the bottom, in the corner. Do. Okay. I was
Can
just
you hear
about to
me?
say.
Can you hear
Yeah,
me?
I can hear
Can you
you.
hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Hey, how you doing? I just had a little comment to add to what you were saying. I feel like for Black empowerment, because they are doing the most to strip us of our rights to vote. I'm sorry, I'm foundational, 10 generations on my mom's side in Louisiana and my dad's side in Miss Indianola, Mississippi. My mom is from Shreveport, Louisiana. Anyway, and I currently live in Maine and I married an African immigrant, so I have a different perspective. And what I would say is the difference between tethers and us as Black people is they have the community structure that we're denied, and they have a way to amass wealth amongst their communities. They have a way to send their children to school. They have safety and protections that we do not have. And the white power structure really embraces them while it does everything in its power to disrupt us, miseducate our children, arrest our parents, our loved ones, separate our families. And if we had that empowerment, Black empowerment really does help everyone in the country. And my solution is, if they were so hell bent on keeping us from voting this cycle, then we should not vote this cycle. No check, no vote. That's all I got.
All right. Now I gotta ask, and I'm not gonna pry. I gotta
Sure.
ask. You said you were married to an African immigrant, right?
Yes.
He was born in Africa.
Yes, he was born in Africa.
Okay. How long have you been married to him?
I'm divorced now, but I was only married to him for a short time,
Okay.
5 years. I got a
Mhm.
chance to be inside the community and actually see how it works. They they have, this is what it was. Um, they send for their family. When they get to the country, they have a system set up. Somebody got an under table job for them to make money. They set their money back and they eat the government's money until they run out, whatever it
Oh.
is. And then they have not only the under table job when they first get here, and so that they can pay their immigration fees or whatever. They have a way of saving money, and they have a under the table like credit system amongst themselves. They call it IUTA, where every payday, like an example is every payday, this girl would send in $1,000, and everybody in the platform, if it's 50 people, it's $50,000. Do you understand that? And it's like,
Mm.
on the first day, they put the names in order. And if your name is number one on the first day, you get 50,000. And the next payday, if your name is number two, you get $50,000. But every week until it's over, everybody throws their $1,000 in. Now, there's no possible way in Louisiana, if we did that, that wouldn't be called some kind of banking fraud or some kind of scam. You
Interesting.
know what I
That's
mean?
interesting. I'm glad you said that.
And
Yeah,
so
those
with
little
that
schemes and
fifty
stuff.
thousand
Okay.
dollars is enough because they have somebody running the under table job. They have somebody with apartment buildings. They have the system set up. And like, even if you don't know anybody in the country, if you're from the same country as them, they have a church that's
Mm.
not out for greed. That's not a mega church. They can just
Okay.
go to that church. You know what I mean?
Okay.
And get connected.
I appreciate that. I appreciate it. I'm gonna circle back to you. Let me get to some of the other speakers, but before I do, let me say this. Y'all heard what she just said. All that scamming and fraud and stuff that y'all know for a not even a second we would be able to get away with. Now
Not
they
a
come
minute.
over here talking about how hard working they are and how they just study so hard and their work ethic is just so much better than ours, and that's why they get all these opportunities that we can't get. And oh, y'all been here for this long and I came here with $5 and I just got it out the mud and I just pulled myself up by my bootstraps and went to work and got it done. Hey, no. They be doing a whole bunch of under the table scams and schemes and little tricks. They be tricking the system and all that. And a lot of the times it's overlooked by the system when they do that. Like we know for a second, the whole fraud thing that was going on in Minneapolis, with the daycare centers, the Somali daycare centers. They be doing it out, and it's not just somebody said Asians too. Oh yeah, immigrants be doing that. They be running little schemes and under the table businesses and money laundering and all that. They be doing all that type of stuff. Stuff when we start a business, we get. I'm talking about they looking over our shoulder from the dusk till dawn. We do something wrong. There's a restaurant, they be having food safety, run them up in there randomly, looking in between the counters and all of that stuff, making sure the dishes are squeaky clean. Oh, everything we got to do need to be on the up and up. We got to dot all our I's and cross all our T's.
Mm-hmm.
With them, it's see no evil, hear no evil. They ain't gonna say nothing about it. So it's important that you're able to bring light to that.
Can I ask you a question, Afro? Is that when I say they locked us out of home ownership in New York using their large social networking, that would include the funding that she's talking about, the Susus and all of that, right? That's all a part of their large social networking, their form of group economics, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it would be a part of that. Yep.
Yeah. Thank you,
Let's
Drew.
get let's get to Omega.
I got a chance to say what
I don't know why my thing kept coming off the mic like that because I wasn't pushing anything. I swear. But
Take time,
D1
chips.
everybody on. Yeah, I don't know what was up with that, man. In terms of the autopsy, it's basically saying that we were right back in 2020 when she first stepped foot out on the campaign scene for president. It reaffirmed that they thought that we were playing in 2020, and it basically validated that tangibles for a vote is a real thing. It was, I guess you could say that the Democrats are, and they probably gonna have the same fall in 2028. To be honest with you, if they do decide to step out there with her, because I don't think that they've learned anything. They're still not offering anything. But the autopsy just proves what we've been saying all along. If you're not going to promote our interests, we're not gonna support you. Anyway, that's where I'm coming from, and be one, man. Take care.
First to you, brother. Appreciate that. Yep.
B1 Omega.
Yep.
Kush is calling to our attention that she came up before some others and she would like to speak right now.
Who was Kush?
Kushite. Right
Oh,
there.
no, she came up. I brought Omega up and I brought her up, and yeah, it's her turn. I was gonna get to her.
Oh, is it my turn now?
Yeah, you got it.
Okay. Yeah, I just wanted to do I need to state my ethnicity, or do enough people on the panel know who I am that I don't have to? Or is that just for the room?
There's like 200 people in the room. They may not know.
Yeah, just,
Okay. Black American lineage, Maryland and South Carolina. But there were a couple of things that I was listening to other people. So I think it was the counselor. There were a couple of things that I wanted to address. Something that the counselor had said earlier about as far as policies and things is concerned. What I realized with some people is they don't pay attention to policies on both sides of the aisle, the Democrats and the Republicans. The counselor was making mention of how, I'm not really sure what he was saying as far as the Democrats and federal jobs and opportunities for Black Americans and so on and so forth. I kind of question, unless he's like a mail courier or something, or if he's a federal government contractor, there were just certain things that I question, because if a person is a federal employee or civilian who's actually tracking policies on both sides of the aisle, you do know that the Democrats last year, they shut down the government for 45 days. And so if he himself is a government civilian, he already said he's not in the military anymore, he's a veteran. You did not benefit from the government shutting the Democrats shutting the government down for 45 days last year. And then again, if you're under the Department of Homeland Security and some of the other departments this year, that suffered yet again another Democrat shutdown for 76 days. You didn't benefit from that as a federal employee. If in fact you really are a federal civilian, you didn't benefit from that. Unless, of course, you were willing to fall on a sword for illegal migrants or for medical care for people, or whatever the case may be. I'm not understanding how you can say that those policies benefited federal civilians. I'm not sure how you can say that. Now, I'm not, again, as I said, I follow the policies on both sides of the aisle. I'm aware of what Republicans are also trying to do to federal civilians. So at the end of the day, neither are on the side of the federal civilians, as you say, but I don't think that you were being sincere, and I don't think that you were And I don't know if that was intentional or whatever, but what I'm saying is you really didn't state policies, sir. And I thought that that was just insincere. The other thing I did notice in the comments, somebody was saying something about what have Republicans done for freedmen or for foundational Black Americans. And again, this goes back to people getting their teeth, if you will, if you look into the history of both parties, the Democrats and the Republicans. It was the Republicans who got us, that fought for our having the 13th, 14th, or 15th Amendment for freedmen. It was the Republican Party, the Civil Rights Act of 1964. That was Republicans who fought for that. The Civil Rights Act of 1964, Democrats were filibustering that. So while Lyndon B. Johnson was a Democrat president who did sign that legislation in Congress, the legislative branch, it was the Democrats who filibustered that. They fought against the Civil Rights Act of 1964. It was Republicans who fought for it to be signed. And another thing about the Civil Rights Act of 1964, if people understand that piece of legislation, what the Civil Rights Act of 1964 did was that it gave us what was taken away from us by the Civil Rights Act of 1865, I want to say. So I would have to go back to my notes on that. But around about 1883 or so, there was a Civil Rights Act that was taken back from us. And the Civil Rights Act of 1964, almost 100 years later, gave us what was taken back away from us by the Democrats. So if you go and look at it, we weren't really given anything new. We were just given back something that was taken away from us. And so again, as I say, a lot of this is just people going back historically and looking at what these pieces of legislation and what these parties have done. So while people are sitting here and always asking the question about what have the Republicans done for us, historically, I would encourage people to look back at what the Democrats have done for us. Going back to the Civil War, the leaders of the Confederacy were members of the Democrat Party. Those people were fighting to maintain slavery. Those people were fighting to keep this country separated. That's what they were fighting for, going back as far as the Civil War. So I'm not really sure when people talk about the purpose or what each party have done for us. When I've done my research has shown that the Democrat Party has always been a party of keeping this country separated. They have always fought against things that have benefited my ethnic group specifically. And I haven't heard anybody go up there and prove to the contrary that that's not true. So it was something else that somebody had said, but I'll just land right there.
All right. I'm gonna let Counselor, because you were addressed directly. You get like real quick a response, and then we'll get to Candy.
I think she was saying I was being disingenuous. The fact of the matter is, like I say, I served from 83 to '05, and then from '05 to current, I've been working as a contract security officer for DHS. And so any party, Republican, Democrat, I'd rather be just straight up neutral, man. I'm trying to figure out how we get it without all this, I'm this, I'm that, I'm this, I'm that. How do we get it? How do we get to the bag and leave a legacy for our kids? We already know what we're up against. And so which party stormed the damn Capitol? You know what I'm saying? Which party, a party of any party, stormed the Capitol? So me as a federal security officer, you're storming the Capitol building, whatever group you belong to. I'm in a position where I have to use lethal force. You know what I'm saying? So all this party doing this and party doing that, at the end of the day, what are the facts? How are we getting to the bag to leave a legacy for our generation? And all this crying, I'm talking about we FBA this, FBA that. So if we so FBA, then how come we haven't grinded it up? How come we don't have a platform where we can really get to the bag?
Who do you think are you getting to the bag, sir? Yes or no?
Oh, come on. You feel me? I get it out of the mud. So once again, join the U.S. Army.
Hold on, sir. Hold on. If you're getting it out the mud, what makes you think that other foundational Black Americans aren't doing that?
That's what I'm saying. We got to be. You know what I'm saying? So we shouldn't be up here crying. We should be trying to find a reason.
All right. Nobody's crying. The whole, what are we going to be doing? How are we going to be getting it out the mud? Who says that's not going on? And then we would have to get it out the mud. We would have to grind and make something happen regardless of who is the president.
Exactly.
So that's a mute point. To what she was saying is that you said that Harris being in office would be better for black people as far as the federal jobs. She just made a point to say it was the Democrats that shut down the government for the longest time in American history, having federal employees not being paid because they didn't want to fund ICE. And the Democrats openly said that
I
because they didn't want the DHS bill, which was giving some money to ICE, they didn't want that to pass. They didn't want to give money to ICE. They were going to not vote. The House was going to not vote, which caused the government to shut down.
get
And
it.
you had
I
federal
work.
employee. I'm saying, hold on. You had federal employees not getting a paycheck for months at a time. And you're talking about how the Democrats care. What she called out was really a hypocrisy, because she's saying that when the Democrats do something that hurts federal employees, it seems to be overlooked, versus when the Republicans do something that hurts federal employees. That's what she was saying.
I'm saying I ain't picking neither one of them. You feel me? Because both of them are gonna go do this or gonna go do that in the best interest of whatever they think they're trying to get accomplished. I'm trying to say, how do we move the needle for everybody to strive and be successful without all this infighting? You feel me?
Who is
And
infighting? Who is infighting?
okay, I guess there's no. I guess I'm just confused because I guess there is no infighting. You know what I'm saying?
All
I'm
right,
just
no.
confused then.
Well, how are
Yep.
you confused? Who did you think were infighting?
So based off what's going on in the country right now, right? So me as a veteran, me as a
I
leader,
have a
right?
clarifying question just so I'm caught up. Is he the one who said his family was from Canada? Was it him or someone else? No? Okay.
No.
Thank you.
Yeah, you confused.
Immigrant too, sis. Listen to him. As
You
Hold
as
on, hold
confused.
on, hold on, hold
You
Afro
on.
was
confused.
talking
You
to him,
confused. You confused.
as
No, no, dude. Now you were saying that what? What were you saying?
I'm in it fresh. Let him finish, but I got you, sis.
The
I'm
council is
saying,
now. You were saying about getting to the. What were you saying?
I'm saying all the infighting, like
Who was
for
infighting?
me.
Yeah, who was infighting?
So you guys are agreeing with what's going on in the country currently right now.
Is that's infighting? I'm asking, sir. Who is infighting?
Man, I'm saying if from my perspective, from what I see on the opposite side of the aisle, um, with Republicans,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not agreeing with it. That's all I got to say. I am not agreeing with. I'm
Okay.
not
Well,
agreeing with the
thank you.
tariffs. I'm
Thank
not
you.
agreeing. Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. All right. Now we're gonna move on. I asked multiple times who is infighting. He said we got to stop all the infighting. I'm like, who is infighting? Well, we got to stop the tariffs. Okay. Well, all right. If that's the answer to your question, because when they and this is what happens, that if you were in an echo chamber that didn't question, anytime you ask them a question about what they mean, I'm not trying to put words in your mouth or twist what you're saying. I'm quite literally asking, what do you mean by that? And you, I guess, don't know. So it's okay. Let's get to
my
Candy.
rebuttal, and I'm gonna go. I promise, Afro, y'all. First of all, you
No,
you
fly. Go
you
ahead, fly.
you you immigrant talking. Okay, we know you're an immigrant. Number one, we don't infight. Where were you? You say you older, so you've been hearing all this stuff that they have been doing to Black Americans over 60 years, sir. So don't
Stop
tell us that
crying.
we. Hey, hey,
Stop
hey.
fucking
I'm
Hey,
crying.
talking.
Stop
all right,
crying.
Hey,
that's
we
enough.
don't cry. We
That's
ain't
enough.
asked
Yeah, you
nobody
are.
for
Thank you.
nothing.
Thank you.
You
Wait.
crying. Stop crying.
Let me talk. Let me
No,
talk.
no, Candy goes. It's time for Candy to come up.
Hey Afro. Hey BX. What's up, y'all?
How you
Hey,
doing, Candy?
Candy.
Hey, okay. So, all right, with this autopsy report, I loved it, right? So, let's talk about it. What happened was Kamala and the Democrats made a fatal mistake. They wanted to lean historically on how we typically voted, right? But what they failed to realize was that we were serious about how we were going to vote. So black people over 50, right, remain consistent. However, what they didn't understand was data shows that the shift towards Republican was not uniform. It was heavily concentrated among specific subgroups within the black community. Now, the gender and youth split, the swing was dramatic among younger cohorts, particularly young black men. According to post-election data, Democratic support among young black men fell from roughly 85% in 2020 down to 75% in 2024. Now, this is the catalyst. You know, we got to take it with a grain of salt because they never want to tell us the truth, right? So the age divide. Older black voters, particularly black women over 50, remain rock solid backbone of the Democrat coalition, voting for Harris at rates exceeding 90%. The bleeding of the support was almost entirely under 45 years old. Phenomenal, okay? So check it out. Working class black voters without a college degree shifted towards Donald Trump at higher rates than college educated black voters, right? Tracking with broader national trend where education and economic attainment is replacing race as a primary predictor of voting behavior. Now, the next thing was the identity backlash, right? Identity politics backlash. DNC Autopsy explicitly noted that the party made an analytical mistake by leaning too heavily on identity politics and assuming minority voters would stick with the party purely based on representation. You hear that? Okay, they never want to give us credit. The report bluntly noted that male voters of color, you know how they always got to say people of color, but you know it was black people, require direct, policy-driven economic engagement rather than abstract messaging. That was the CBC, okay? So here we go. I'll land with this. They lost all 7 major battleground states: Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin, Georgia, North Carolina, Arizona, Nevada. And this was the final blow to the Democratic ticket in 2024. She assumed that she would already take those big states with the black people, so she didn't bother even campaigning for real in the little small, communities. That also hurt her. And what happened was, what they found out was Trump was able to take those states at 312 to 226 electoral college victory. What happened was, it's stating that they don't want to give us credit, right? They never want to give it to us. There was just a collapse of the blue wall. There is no longer a strategy for just assuming that we're going to vote blue no matter who. That's done. That's over. What's going to have to happen is they're going to have to give us some tangibles in order to get our vote. It also states, and I'll land with this, many voters either staying home or voting third party for Jill Stein or switching directly to Trump. That was the uncommitted fallout in Michigan. So she was losing bad. She even was getting her butt kicked by Jill Stein. So let's talk about, we love the TikTok shop, but the Demon Rats don't have it. And they don't have it in November either because they haven't changed their talking points or their stance. And a lot of things that we've been talking about, which I won't bring up here, also is why Trump was able to take home the presidential win, because she was playing in our face and all the voters said it. And she lost fair and square. We love the TikTok shop, and thank you. And I'll land there.
All right. Thank you. Before we go to Uncle Stezzy, I want to get to, how do you pronounce your name? Hazika? I requested for you to come up because you said something in the chat room. How do you pronounce his name, BX?
That's Hezekiah.
Hezekiah. You were
Yes.
saying something in the chat room exactly that you disagreed, so I just want to know where your disagreement lies. I can't hear you.
I'm sorry. My disagreement lies with black people. I'm born and raised.
Okay,
If
you
you
are
have headphones in,
very low. You are very low. I can hear myself through your echo more than I can hear you.
I'm sorry. Hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. All right. Yes. My disagreement is with this desire from a certain segment of Black Americans, the decision to want to continue in this charade of politics. We continue to try to play in a game that is rigged against us. We continue to play by someone else's rules. And in my humble opinion, for entertainment purposes, I think that black people need to start playing by our own rules because we have the receipts already. How long have we been in this country? How long have we been playing by these people's rules? And what are the results? They're trying to repeal the 14th Amendment. These Republicans. They're actively taking the last vestiges of black hope away in the South, starting with, with all the redistricting and stuff like that. So I don't understand why these black people keep talking about, oh yeah, just vote for, what do you mean? This is not an effective strategy to move
go
us
back.
forward
Let's dial.
as a
Hold on.
people.
All right, appreciate that. Let's dial it back and let's rewind and let's find out exactly. You said we're playing by their rules, okay?
Yes.
What rules are we playing by?
The rules that they created, literally. It was never intended for black people
are
to
those
be.
if we need to stop playing them,
The Constitution.
what are those specifically?
The Constitution.
We need to stop playing by the Constitution.
Yes.
So we need to just ignore the Constitution.
Yes, completely.
Okay. All right. Okay. We should completely ignore the Constitution.
Yes.
Okay. Including, though, the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendment that you're saying that they're stripping away from us. We should ignore that they exist.
Ignore it all because it never applied to us.
The 13th,
it never applied
14th,
to us.
15th, the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendment never applied to us.
It was never intended for Africans or anybody other than the Caucasian to be beneficiaries. I want to finish my point, brother.
I'm just
me the floor, right?
That they were made because of us, but okay.
It was never intended for the African or anybody other than the Caucasian to be partakers or beneficiaries in what we know as the United States of America. It was never intended for that.
Okay.
Never.
I will say the original Constitution, the founding fathers never intended that. No. The 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendment were added because of us.
Why?
Because of our emancipation.
No. Incorrect.
Why then?
Because it was a military strategy. Abraham Lincoln needed to destabilize the South. And how was the South making money? Through all the free labor it was getting from the Africans and everybody other that was melanated. That's how the South had the power.
What you mean foundational black Americans?
No. I mean everybody melanated because everybody was under the same type of system.
Everybody melanated.
They didn't make no distinction. What are you talking about? FBA didn't even exist back then.
Let's tone down. Let's relax ourselves, okay? FBA did, whether it was called FBA or not, it existed back then.
No, well, we're gonna play semantics, brother. So
okay,
we're gonna play this game. All right, we're gonna play the game.
Hold on, let's relax.
I'm relaxed, brother. I'm chill.
No, you're not. You on the verge of crashing out.
I'm nice and chill.
You're on the verge of crashing out.
No, I'm not on the verge of crashing out. I'm giving you
yes,
the
you are. You're over talking the host.
How about you just chill?
No.
How about you just chill and listen?
Talking the host.
How about you just listen?
And a good sign that you're about to crash out.
You asked me a question and you keep talking.
There's no need for that.
You asked me a question and you keep talking.
Okay, I haven't finished the question. I'm saying we're going to be specific because when you say Africans did not build America. It was foundational black Americans.
False.
You can't
fake
say
news,
all.
Bro. Fake
you can't
news.
say all melanated people.
It's fake news.
It's what's fake news?
It's false. What you just said is false.
What did I say that was false?
What you just said?
Hold on. Let's let him crash out. What did I say that was false? What did I say that was false?
Why do you keep muting my mic?
What did you say that? What did I say that was false?
What you just said was false. There was no such thing as a foundational black American, brother. It didn't exist.
Okay, let me ask you. Yeah, the term didn't exist back then.
It didn't exist, so we're not going to talk about that. We're going to talk about the actual reality.
So don't you dare.
And what is the actual reality?
Okay, hold on then. So you're saying those people didn't exist because that term did not exist?
No, I'm not saying that. No, I'm not.
Okay, so why are you saying it didn't exist?
Because I understand history, brother. I read books.
Okay, if you read books, then before Africa was named Africa, it was named something else, correct? You know that, right?
No, that's false.
It was always named Africa.
But nobody understands this, brother. What you're talking about is a Eurocentric perspective. No, I'm going to give you some game.
Answer the question.
Are you going to listen or are you going to let me answer?
Answer the question with a yes or a no.
Are you going to listen or are you going to let me answer?
Always called Africa.
I need you to stop talking, please.
No, you don't tell me to stop talking at all.
I'm
You don't
just
ever do
keep
that.
talking, and I can't answer a question.
I'm asking a question with a yes or no. Answer it.
So what is your question, brother?
The continent that we call today Africa, was it always the continent always named that? Yes or no?
No.
Okay. But so those people were not always referred to as African,
They
correct?
never identified with that term. What are
Okay.
you
Yeah,
talking about?
you are calling, hold on. You are calling them African and you're
No, I'm
calling us
not.
African.
I'm just
Yes,
using
you
that for
are.
semantics, brother. I don't know how well read you are. I don't know how educated you are, but it doesn't sound like much. I've read thousands of
You
books.
Hold on,
sound
let him crash out. I'm not even
institutionalized.
okay. You read
You
thousands of books.
literally sound
You need
institutionalized.
thousands
Name
of
some
more
of them
books.
books
That's
you
what you
read.
need. Okay.
Act like you have some decorum, please. Get your point across, and the host will rebuttal. What is the problem?
I mean, this is an emotional crash out for absolutely no reason. But he answered enough. I want you to understand this is the emotional regulation of Kamala voters. I just want you to know that. The males that you see voting for, the black males that you see voting for Kamala, this is their emotional regulation.
No, brother, you tripping.
This is how mentally disciplined the Kamala supporters are.
Yeah,
The
you know,
males
you're
that
out
back
of
her.
line.
This is their emotional
You're out of line.
mainstay.
You're out of
No,
line. And I'm going
thank
to tell
you.
you how you're out of line. You want to hear
No,
how
you're not
you're
going to
out
tell
of
me
line?
anything. All right, you're not going to tell me anything. Let's get to Uncle Stezzy. I just bought him. I know he comes up for a very little bit, then he crashes out. But I want you to understand this is how they think for real. They be in the chat room. You don't know anything. You don't know anything. You don't know anything. And then we let them up, and we see they don't know anything. Uncle Stezzy.
Hey, Afro Elite. This is Uncle Steezy.
Uncle Steve. Gotcha.
Appreciate all that you do. I've watched your work for quite some time. BX, what's happening, love? And to
Peace.
the panel. So, as far as addressing your prompt, I can remember when Kamala was trying to run in the nominations the first time she tried to run, and at that point, uh, many of the black community took the temperature of that woman, and we wasn't feeling her then. And to couple that up with how she was a prosecutor and the way she was incarcerating a lot of black men and then exploiting their labor to put out fires of rich neighborhoods out there in California. You know what I mean? So it was a lot of elements that kept us from siding with her and what she had to offer, you know what I'm saying, for that presidency. Now, outside of that prompt, there was a caller that mentioned something earlier about the African and the African community and this type of money that they put together. So I was working at a place at one time, and I was amongst a lot of Hispanics, and they were doing what they would call a tanda. And what it was everybody would, each week, everybody, there was like 15 people. And every week, everybody would put in $50 or $100, whatever you decide on together. And they would all put it in there. They would all, there's a order for the names. And whatever week it was for that person to get that money, it was several $1,000s. You know what I'm saying? And I think that is a very good model for a lot of the black people, a lot of the black Americans to get together and start to create that type of situation in their communities so that each person gets a bulk sum of funds. You know what I'm saying? I think that model would be good. Where you take it and how you would build it would be different, but I think it's a great model. I'm gonna land on that. You can drop me down, let somebody speak. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak, brother.
Appreciate you, brother. Thank you very much. Let's
Can
get
can
to
can I say something, Afro? So a couple of the family members were adding me saying that the crash out had a white tea wife, and I know that it came up before, but I wanted to prove a point, y'all. It's not that I'm protecting the white tea lady or didn't want to mention it. I'm just really under attack for who my children's father is, and you can actually make a person crash out without bringing up their children, without bringing up their spouse. every minute of the damn day or every time you see them on the panel. He's a crash out. He's going to crash out. Right.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's why
Yeah,
I
I
didn't
didn't have to.
mention his
I
family.
knew that as well too, and I didn't have to bring that up. I already knew he was going to crash out. I can get him to crash out just based off of his points. I don't have to bring up his family or nothing like that. I already know where he's coming from. I already know I'm going to get him because he doesn't know what he's talking about, and he's going to feel embarrassed and angry, and he's going to crash out like he did. Let's get to King AD.
Thank you, Afro.
King AD.
Good afternoon, panel. How y'all doing? First time on your panel, sir, but I have been listening for the last hour and a half. Very informative, kind of exciting, but very, very informative. And to the panel, y'all have had some wonderful things to say, and very informative as well. And I would like to say thank y'all because some of y'all I've learned something through y'all. I'm from Louisiana, Black, American. I'm just a philosopher of life. I was wanted to ask y'all, can y'all look at this from a different point of view? What if this was rigged from the start?
Okay.
And let me explain. I went back and studied Hillary's presidential campaign. I studied hers. And then I went when she went up against Trump. And I went and I looked at Kamala's campaign. Besides the race thing, they both similar. Very, very similar. Very, very similar. Then I'd appeal to the black voters. Then I really get to the crux of the situations of the problems. And I talk about the policies, brought out celebrities. It was like a big party. And the only time Trump lost was when he went up against a man. So what if this was actually rigged from the start? I'm going to tell you why. Because the leader, the president of the United States, is not just the leader of this country. He's the leader of, I think, 10 to 20 different committees worldwide. And some of the people that he had to talk to are from total male-dominated patriotic countries. The OPEC countries, the people he's going to war with now.
Okay.
Now, the thing about Kamala, and that I didn't like, was because I voted for Biden. I didn't vote the last election.
Okay.
I just didn't vote.
Okay.
So the thing I didn't like was they nominated her after the DNC was done.
Okay.
And I felt like they knew that y'all knew Biden was already on the decline.
Let me ask you a question real quick, brother. And I've heard that talking point be made that Trump only won when he's up against women. I've heard that, and I mean, it's not incorrect, so that is a true statement. But the idea or implication behind that is that he can only beat women. And that implication, I feel like, is less than honest, because he was going to beat Biden. He was going to beat Biden. Remember, before Biden dropped out, Biden was losing in all of the polls. Biden is a male just like Trump is. So Biden was losing in all of the polls before, and it was going to be a clean sweep, and Trump was going to beat Biden, which is why the entire party, Nancy Pelosi and Obama, pretty much threw a coup to get Biden out the race. They pulled back all support from Biden because they knew he was going to lose, especially after his first debate. So the argument that Trump only won because of sexism, I would say that I see why you think that way, but that would only work is if he couldn't beat a male, and he beat Biden. He beat Biden so bad Biden had to drop out. So I think she lost not because she's a female. I think she lost because her policies were bad. And I feel like that's the same reason Hillary lost. And I'm not saying that there's no misogynist people out there. I'm not trying to say that, but I'm trying to say the overall picture is the fact that their policies were bad. That's why
And,
Biden would have lost,
and
and that's why she lost.
but even if their policies were good, that's what I'm saying. What you're saying, I understand, and that is correct. That is on the domestic level. I'm looking at this on the international level because the president is an international leader. He's not just the leader of the United States of America. He is an international leader. He is the leader of the free world, which means that he has to deal with other dignitaries. And some of these dignitaries are from highly male dominated systems.
Okay.
So do you think having a lady, and that's, I'm not saying that a woman is not qualified to be president. That's not what I'm saying. Anybody's qualified to lead anything if they just led the right way and they
Okay.
have a plan.
All right.
But what I'm saying is that on the
Oh
international
wow,
level,
in some way you violated the guidelines. So we saying they got him. Why did you? I don't know what happened. I don't know what guidelines you violated. But if we're
Who
still
is it?
on, and
AD or Black Vanguard? What happened to Black Vanguard?
I don't know what he said. I don't know what he said. We were having an interesting conversation. Um, y'all just watch yourself.
Hmm.
I
I
don't
think we
know.
should code the names KH maybe. I don't know the D's and the R's, the elephants. What's the other one? The donkeys. I don't know.
I don't even know if it because that's been said throughout the whole thing, the whole time. So I don't know exactly. I don't know. I'm not sure what was reported for real.
Right.
But we're gonna continue the program anyway. Let's get to Omar.
Hey, what's up, my brother?
How you
What up,
doing,
y'all?
man?
Peace to you, bro.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, so um, you want me to answer the prompt, or you want me to? You got a specific question for me, or
Well, yeah. Where are your people from ethnically, and then you can answer the prompt.
Georgia? Yeah, Georgia. I'm a foundational copper colored Afro Indigenous American.
Oh boy, you're a lot of things. Okay.
Yeah, yeah, because
What is that? What
I,
is that? What does that mean? So
so basically, every every
your
part of
TV
that.
or laptop or something like that is very loud. We can hear it.
Oh wow, you can. Hold on, let me cut
Mhm.
it down. I'm up here on the PlayStation. 1 second. All right, that better.
Yeah.
All right. I was saying that so copper color represents the phenotype. American represents the nationality. Indigenous represents certain ancestors that were here since the beginning. Foundational represents those ancestors that also were pivotal in the development of this country. Does that make sense? So every piece of that title means something. As you know, that our people went through ethnogenesis, and so with that, all of us living are a byproduct of all the ancestors that came before us. And so when we label ourselves, we have to make sure that a label is properly identifying all of those ancestors and not just one or two, if that makes sense.
One moment. So you don't understand foundational Black Americans in the original sense represent everything that you just said. You know, we stand on amalgamation. We understand ethnogenesis, and it's a cultural way to identify and acknowledge all of our ancestors. Like you really had to say copper colored, they this and that and the third. It come off like you was being funny, at least to me.
No, no,
You
no, because
know,
like the
but
black,
foundational. Go
yeah,
ahead.
the reason why, because black, I'm still doing I do a lot of FOIA requests, so I don't really like to use that word black because I know in law it can mean certain things. I'm still trying to find concrete evidence on what that actually means. Like native, we can find, I can look in the Black's Law Dictionary and clearly see what a native is, and it doesn't represent indigenous, it doesn't represent Indian. And so I know I have to be very careful with certain words. So
This a
that's why I don't.
court of law? Is this like, are we in the courtroom right now, or are we having a discussion?
No, he asked me how to identify. We had a right to self-identify.
So
So,
I
and
just want
he
to
asked me
say,
to.
no problem. I'll mute up. I just wanted clarity. Go
Yeah,
ahead,
yeah,
Alpha.
yeah.
What?
Nah, I get
What?
what that.
Okay. To the prompt. What did you want to say about the prompt?
The reason why Kamala didn't have that support, at least from me, is when I looked at her track record as a prosecutor. Um, I wasn't satisfied. Her talking points, I wasn't satisfied. I know that you have evil people in power globally. The New World Order is a real thing. And I know that she wouldn't be equipped to deal with that type of energy on a planet. You needed, if anything, Trump would do a better job as far as combating the New World Order based on what he presented. So his talking points, what he represented, was more suitable to target these wicked people globally that are part of the New World Order. Now, whether he fulfills that, that's a whole nother discussion. But based on the two parties, what was presented from his side was more appealing to me. I'm independent. I voted for Obama in the past, but I've also voted for Trump. So
Now, here's the thing. Here's the thing. I don't want us to lose track because we're talking about the 2024 autopsy, right?
mhm.
And in the 2024 autopsy, it was saying that Harris did not have black support. And now people are bringing up geopolitics and how they would prefer a male president over a female president. And regardless of the truth to that, or however much true that is, whatever truth to that may be, that's not the conversation. And I don't want us to lose track of the fact that ultimately their autopsy deemed her loss is due to a lack of black support.
Mhm.
Okay?
Mhm.
Because let's be very clear, geopolitics, they don't vote in American elections. So the president, whatever the president of Iran or Kim Jong Un, whatever they would have wanted, that didn't sway how we voted in America. So the conversation is, how did black people vote in America? Why or why not? That's what we're on.
I got you. So did it make sense? Why do you think I was thorough in explaining why me, for
Yep.
example? Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
got you. Thank you. Let's get to now. I want to get to Christopher.
How you doing, host?
I'm good. How you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. Interesting conversation you got going on here.
Appreciate that.
So, this is how I want to opine, right? I'm 55 years old from Brooklyn, New York, and here's the deal. When I looked at the exit polls,
No. Brooklyn is not an ethnic group. Mind you, some of us know who you are. What is your ethnic group?
my mother's Jamaican and my father's Trinidadian.
Thank
Okay,
you.
cool. All right.
I wasn't saying that to not say I wasn't Caribbean. So anyway, I'm from Brooklyn. That's the truth of the matter. So anyway,
Okay.
like I'm saying, when I looked at the exit polls, what I got from it was I seen 92% of black women voted for Kamala Harris. Somewhere within the proximity of 80% of black men voted for Kamala Harris. I was looking at that, I was like, oh shit, that's black unity right there. Matter of fact, that's the highest example of black unity I've ever seen in the United States in my 55 years.
Really?
Yeah, I never
Really?
seen black, yeah, especially in this day and age. Now, hear me out. What was supposed to happen was this. Donald Trump is a con man from New York City. I know
Mm-hmm.
exactly who he is. Everybody in
Mm-hmm.
New York knows who he is. He's a con man. A lot of people, the reason why Donald Trump is the president of the United States, because a lot of Americans are just stupid. I'm gonna tell you why. I'm gonna tell you why, especially black people that voted for him. I'm gonna tell you why. See, what the election was supposed to do was supposed to be a blow to white supremacy. It's supposed to be a blow to white nationalism. Wake up
Mm-hmm.
call. Kevin Roberts, Stephen Miller, Donald Trump, his whole fucking staff are white nationalists. What your vote did, your vote didn't weaken white nationalism at all. It strengthened it, matter of
Do
fact.
you
It gave it
think
this,
that, okay, all right, do you think that voting for Harris would have weakened white nationalism?
well, as much as they were against it, yeah. Because they
Do
moved,
you think, no, hold on.
I'm gonna tell you why. I'm gonna tell
Just
you
hold
why.
on before you tell me why, because I have a follow-up question. Do you think it would have weakened white nationalism?
Yeah.
Do you think that voting for Biden weakened white nationalism?
No.
Okay. So if voting for Biden didn't weaken white nationalism, what makes you think that voting for Harris would have done that?
You think Harris and Biden are the same person?
for the very most part, yeah.
Well,
There's
that's
not.
where you're, that's where
There's
you're
more of
flawed.
them that are the same than different. Especially after Harris came up on the View and said that she wouldn't have done nothing different from what Biden did.
Yeah, that
She
was
said
smart.
that out her own mouth.
That was smart. Because what you don't know, what you
It
probably,
clearly was
I'm,
not
I'm,
smart. It
I'm
was
gonna tell you,
clearly
no, no,
unsmart. It
no,
was a
no, no,
very
no.
unwise thing to say.
It was
Actually,
smart. It was smart for the smart
how
people.
did her smart idea work out for her then?
Well, check it out. I'm gonna tell you this.
Okay.
If you my man's right, if I say, yo, you my lieutenant, and you know you rock with me, and I appoint you, and you get up on TV and say, nah, I would have did it different than him. That would have showed that you ain't really doing your job. The job of the vice president is to uphold the vision of the president and replace the president if the president can't complete their term. That's what the job of the vice president. What she look like going up there saying, "Yeah,
But
I
at
totally
that
did it."
time, sir, she was not only just the vice president. At that time, she was running for the current president,
Right.
who was pushed out because he was doing a bad job
He was doing a bad job at what?
of being a president.
And I mean, what are you talking
Which
about?
is why, sir, which is why he was losing in all of the polls.
What was the bad job?
The bad job was being the president. Nobody
Open
liked the
borders.
way Joe Biden was being the
Open
president.
borders.
Y'all act like y'all have amnesia. Stop doing that,
Here's what it
because he
is.
was doing a
Trump,
bad job. He
Trump,
was losing in all of the polls, and he did a terrible job at that debate, which caused Nancy Pelosi and the other Democrats to pretty much force him to resign,
so
or to
how
forfeit
many?
the
How many?
campaign. Not resign necessarily, but to forfeit his campaign.
I heard sister down there say open borders. Now, how many migrants came through the United
Okay,
States?
no. You're not going to just bounce around the conversation. You're not going to do that.
What was your question?
We're going to stick to what you think Harris would have done to end white nationalism
No.
that Biden didn't do.
I didn't even say in white nationalism. What I said was it would have been a blow to it. See, because I
Okay,
saw
it would have, what do you
listen.
think she would have done that would have been a blow to white nationalism that Biden didn't do?
Well, here's the thing. I look at Kamala Harris, and I know she's an intelligent woman. I listen to her talk. I know a
Okay.
lot of y'all. I know a lot of y'all haven't even heard her put a coherent sentence together. None of y'all heard her put a sentence together. Now, none of y'all. That means y'all don't listen to her. I heard her put plenty sentences together. That's the
Oh
difference
wow,
between me.
that's the standard now to
Sounds
be
like a little
president.
drunk lady to
You
me.
That's the standard.
hear
That
me
the
out.
standard to be the president of the United States of America is to put a coherent sentence together.
No,
That's the
it's
standard.
eating the cats and dogs. That's the
Sir,
criteria.
she was
Okay.
cackling all the time. How could we hear her?
Trina,
She was always
Trina,
giggling and cackling.
No, eating the
and
cats and
hold on,
dogs.
no. So
All
you
right.
don't get to throw out accusations. I didn't get over the Americans are stupid, but your parents come from two failed islands, right? They couldn't make shit shake over there. Trina, another immigrant, right? Her family has an immigrant background, was the one who revealed that Haitians were eating, that stuff first, pets first. So don't put it out on Trump. Just that he had a major national platform to tell the truth about the Haitians, sir. So
All
tell
right,
the truth. You
so
wanted
here we
to
are.
vote us to vote for Kamala so your family could keep gentrifying places such as New York and locking us out of things like home ownership. You and Kamala and all the other immigrants, such as Yvette Clark, have agendas, sir, that do not include foundational Black Americans. It ain't that hard. The truth has been told. Keep going, though.
We're gonna move on. We're gonna move on to the next person because you clearly don't have an argument. We're just gonna do that. You clearly don't. Okay. I asked you several times, what is she going to do that's gonna be this big blow to YT nationalism, and you can't articulate that.
Well, I'm gonna tell you this, right? For some
No,
reason, the
you're
white
not.
national.
No. We're gonna move on.
I'm
That's what
telling
I'm
you
doing.
I'm telling you about to
No,
answer your question.
answer it right now.
All right, boom. Now, for some reason, the white nationalists didn't want the women to have the autonomy to their own bodies, but she was fighting for that right. But for some reason, the white nationalists did not want that to happen. But she was like, nah, these women, no man needs to be telling no woman what to do with their bodies. I agree with that because my
If she
daughter's body.
Okay, here's the thing. Stop. If she won, if you're talking about Roe v. Wade, she couldn't have reversed that because that's the Supreme Court's decision.
My
She
man,
couldn't have reversed that even if she won. Like unless one of them, left their seat. A couple of them
I'm trying
leave
to tell
their
you
seat.
something, bro.
There's nothing she could have even done about that. Just
I
like
know.
Biden couldn't do anything about that.
Hear me
So
out.
yeah, they didn't like her political stance, but that wasn't going to be no blow. He keeps saying it was a blow. It would have been a blow to nationalism, to YT nationalism, and you can't articulate what the quote unquote blow would have been because there wouldn't have been one. There wouldn't have been a blow to it. So we're going to move on. We're going to get to Megadon.
Pro Elite BX, what's good, y'all?
Peace, Megadon.
What are you doing?
So I think his point, I kind of agree with him. I think it would have been a blow to nationalism, but it would have been a blow to black nationalism and white nationalism because it would have been a upliftment of immigrant supremacy, and that's the part he didn't want to say out loud. The way they opened the borders, the way they flooded our communities, the way they changed, like Afro, in 2020, Hispanic became the majority minority. Is somebody off mute? The
They're
majority
back. Keep it up.
minority, yeah, the majority minority in Chicago, right? They sent in a immigrant group into a predominantly black area and changed the demographics of the voting bloc and political power in the area. That was a smaller roadmap to what I believe they planned on doing throughout the entire country, and them being in power would have disempowered us, disempowered the YT, and empowered the immigrant coalition. And one thing they was doing prior to the election was they were sending out all of these like Lukes and all these people to disparage our community, to talk against us, to talk against y'all, to attack you, attack Tariq, attack anybody that was trying to speak out for the lineage and ask for tangibles, create misinformation campaigns claiming y'all was putting out misinformation, and they was literally spitting in the face of people we knew were specifically focused on getting the best things for us. And it became very clear that they were anti-us. And you can't expect us to side with you when we can clearly see that this person wants to help us and you're the most opposed to this person. You can't operate in good faith with us knowing that. And their messaging was centered around that. Then instead of conceding and saying, hey, we actually understand y'all have an issue, they applied this pan-African thought process to other races as well. We're a large ethnic group that operates under the identity of foundational Black American, but to them it's Black, and they included everyone in that the same way they do Hispanic. Well, Hispanic is hundreds of with a large amount of different ethnic groups within that label that have varying interests and ideologies. We tend to operate as a block; those other groups don't. So I would composite that we probably still are the largest ethnic racial block that will vote together in one thing. So in disparaging that, you removed every context. You removed any power they had because they disparaged the one group of people they could count on, and thought that this immigrant coalition was going to be strong enough to overpower us. And then when they couldn't do that, they start sending, like, you remember they were sending marketing campaigns like things you niggas need to know, and like they was just sending sad like super too hot for TV, cursing us out, and that the immigrants was telling us that if we want reparations, we need to build a coalition with them because they run everything. Like, do y'all remember some of the stuff they were saying right before up into that election? They was downright extremely disrespectful, and every day they go on these platforms, and the people who are the Democrat surrogates or extreme Democrats, they crash out attacking our lineage. How do you expect for us to side with that? It's impossible. I think that salute to you, salute to Brother Reek, to BX, everybody that was doing content, exposing us and speaking on behalf of the lineage, because I believe that if they not including that in the autopsy report, then they are under evaluating the situation. When you have people who have proven context and track records within the community who are speaking on behalf of us, and a large majority of the people who are not in your political or academic circle seem to agree, it's probably the sentiment of a large part of our community that's politically aware enough to understand what's going on. And even those who aren't politically aware, we are the cousins, the brothers, the aunties that they trust to look into this stuff and give them accurate information. Because they got 24-hour propaganda channels running with MSNBC and all those things. How is it that those things were able to be invalidated? And that's because we had more trust than MSNBC had within our families. So my next door neighbor I talked to about all this stuff. I said, hey, I was looking at this the like I've really been digging into this, and the Democrats is really playing in our face. And you see how they just flooded us with all these people. We tried to protest and do all this stuff. They did not care. They sent them and said you're gonna have to deal with it anyway. And then they threatened us. You ain't black if you don't if you gonna try and fight against what we got going on. So they just gonna gangsta our whole ethnicity and make us do what they want. They must think we some whole hoes out here. How you say in a New Orleans accent? Some whole hoes out here. You know what I'm saying? Like, dog, look, you got us messed completely up. She changed her mind. The other neighbors on the other side changed their mind. The more, if I'm sending clips and links, and we got background information, we sending clips and links to everybody in our family in the back chats and all this stuff. Y'all don't understand. We are an interconnected network, similar to like in what's the movie where the tree underground with the aliens in the air, you know what I'm talking about, where you touch the tree of life or something and it reverberate throughout all the. I'm just saying we interconnected like roots, right?
Like, are you talking about Avatar?
Yeah, I'm talking about Avatar. We interconnected like that. You can't see it on the outside, but beneath the surface, we got family text threads. We got group chats that are not on the front facing social media side. So you don't understand how we're discussing these things amongst each other. Playing spades, like, man, Joe, they playing with us. Woo woo. We are discussing these things and getting on code. So you're not going to be able to subvert us and trick us into it. If anything, the problem is the gap is increasing. Every day, more and more people are waking up. There were people who would have argued with me about Pan-Africanism, because I don't host no lives, but I definitely go to op panels and debate their information and be destroying that shit till they kick me off. And I don't be yelling and screaming or nothing. So once they kick me off, that sparks information. People to come into panels like this, and it's a lot of other people who do the same thing, who just spreading the message, spreading the word. They don't understand what's happening right now, and if they think they're gonna silence, shadow ban, ghost ban, or just kind of steal talking points but still run with their agenda and get us out the way, that's they are sadly mistaken. They are sadly mistaken. Sadly mistaken. That's what I got for them, though.
All right. Appreciate that. Let's get to HR and then Anthony.
Okay, yeah. So shout out to you, Afro. I don't know if you remember me, but at any rate,
I remember you. Yeah, I do.
Okay, thank you, appreciate you. Black on both sides. I grew up in Florida. My mother's from Florida. My father's from Georgia, and I consider my origin story starting in Georgia. I still got some more research to do, but that's where everything starts for me, down in Georgia. Yeah.
Okay.
But at any rate, so it comes down to a few things for me. They're the Democratic look. They've done their autopsy. I know they kind of they churched it up a bit and they try to make it sound really nice, but I would say basically their lack of a serious black agenda, the disrespect, especially the disrespect towards black men. A lot of black men did not appreciate that. And then, you guys mentioned it, but one of the nails in the coffin for her was basically when she was on that on the View and said, "Yeah, I'm not going to change anything. I'm going to do exactly the same thing." And you got to remember, so there was a lot going on. You had everything from open borders to the fallout of Afghanistan to that crazy situation came about. They messed that up. You got to remember, I don't know if I can say the name between the two countries, but let's talk about those two countries that are still in conflict in the Middle East. I'll just say that that was going on. They were getting a lot of heat for that. And then, of course, even under the Biden administration, they were talking about white nationalism and white supremacy, but they weren't doing anything to combat it. So I don't know what that one guy was talking about. I kept looking at articles that kept coming out under the Biden-Harris administration where they talked about white supremacy, white nationalism. It's a big threat. And I would always read the articles and I go, okay, so what are y'all doing about it? They were never a solution. They would never talk about they were attacking these groups or trying to shut them down or do anything about it. So they just said, so recognizing it is not enough. You got to actually, do something about these groups, right?
Yeah.
So there was a lot going on right there. And then I'll just say this, as it relates to the campaign overall, it was a pretty sloppy rollout. Like it was very sloppy. Look, here's what they didn't do. They just said, okay, they pulled Biden out and said, okay, we already got a vice president. Boom, here you go. They didn't get together like 3 or 4 other possible candidates and do like at least a summary primary. Because I suspect that had they done that, then Kamala Harris wouldn't even made the summary primary. They would have picked somebody else. See, so it just seems like they were kind of afraid to do that. So since Biden, he messed up that whole debate. He looked really bad. They're like, well, we already got a vice president. Let's just use her, and hopefully it'll work out. But I suspect had they actually pulled other candidates in and done a summary primary, she might not get they might not she might have been overlooked right from the beginning. She might not even been a candidate at all. And then again, like the policies were real bad. The things they should have been focusing on was economic policy and protections, right? There's no protection bills for black people. We know that all of these stuff that's going on with black people and how everybody loves attacking black folks, this, that, and the third. They were able to get it done for the Asians, for Asian community. Not mad at them, but they got it done. So I'm thinking, well, if you can get it done for them, you can get it done for black folks too. Meanwhile, black victims are the primary victims of hate crime. Black people are the primary victims of hate crime. So you can do it for one group, you should be able to do it for the other. Everybody needs to get their own exclusive protection bills. And they really weren't talking about anything seriously economically. She did towards the end, and I don't know if you remember this, they threw out something about, oh, well, we're going to give an opportunity to get some dispensaries and all this other. I'm like, and that was kind of like very last minute. And they did a lot of talking down to black men specifically. That, I had this conversation with some of my, I call them my internet friends. They did live streams. So I would pop on and we have these conversations leading up to the election. And these are the things that we were discussing. But Obama was disrespecting black men. Oh, I want to vote for a woman. Like, no, we'll vote for a woman, probably not her, but we'll vote for a woman that's, competent, who's, got some good policies, who says that, she's going to actually get stuff done the way we need things getting done. Like, it has nothing to do with, with her being a woman. It's, was she the right woman? So you had Obama talking down to black men. You had, all these shields. You had Roland Martin, Joy Reid. Like, there's a lot going on. So again, sloppy rollout. They had ongoing issues under that Biden-Harris administration that they weren't really addressing, and they didn't really solve. And then when they didn't address it in a good way. And then on top of that, it looked like she was being forced down, everybody's throats. And then of course you add the disrespect to that. And this is the interesting thing. Despite all of that, the black men who did voted at a rate of 82%, I believe. So it wasn't so much that black men didn't vote. It's just that not more black men didn't vote for her in order to get her over the edge. But the thing is that even with what black people did, remember, she got washed in all of the swing states. She didn't win not one swing state. That's the first time I've ever seen that. I didn't even know you could do it. I didn't even know you could lose every swing state in an election. I don't think it's ever happened. She might be the first one that was able to get that done. Have you looked at an exit poll where there's 5 or 6 or 7 swing states, and then there wasn't like a real battle between, or as far as the outcome? So all 7 swing states, she lost all of them. She got completely washed. So, she had criticism from people on that actually were in support of the Democrats, but they were also getting a lot of, she was also getting a lot of critique and negativity from the other side. It was very easy to critique her because basically they were just making a lot of mistakes. So that contributed to a lot of it. When they did that whole,
I'm gonna let you land because I want to get to Anthony, and then we're gonna wrap it up.
I'm not going to go a little bit long. Yeah, but when they did that whole autopsy, all the stuff that I mentioned, they kind of touched on it, but they talked around it. But if you pay attention overall and you kind of follow the campaign from start to finish, these are the things that me and my internet friends, we were talking about. I'll go ahead and stop right there. Let you respond. Thanks.
Yeah, that's very true. And the argument, and this is what they wrote on, the argument is, black men don't want to see a black woman in power and all of that, and it's because she's a woman. And listen, that played a bigger role in the YT community, but you got to think about it. Most YT females pick the YT male, not the quote unquote. They didn't ally themselves with, I'm a woman, so I got to vote for a woman. They didn't do that. The first and second time, when Trump was against Hillary, they voted for Trump. When Trump was against Harris, they voted for Trump. So they will pick feminism when it's just between them and YT males. But when it's between whiteness and every other race, they will always pick their whiteness. The only time they pick being a woman over anything is when racial elements are not a factor. When they can talk about YT males, then they'll be all like, well, I'm a woman and I want to support women's rights and I want to advance women and all that. When they say women, is a white woman. They just don't say the word white. It's written in invisible ink. Okay. But then when a black woman comes up, the white stops being invisible. Now it's, oh, well, no, well, hold on now. I'm not that much of a feminist. They will hit the brakes immediately on feminism. All of them out there talking about how the patriarchy and all that stuff, they will vote for the patriarchy 10 times out of 10 if the patriarchy keeps them white. If the end of the patriarchy is anything outside of Caucasian, they will pick patriarchy every day of the year. Okay, so let's not, I just got to say that. All right.
But before you move on, can I just want to tell everybody, if you remember Christopher, the guy who said his parents were Jamaican and Trinidadian, if you remember him from earlier on, like some of our early interactions with him, he was stating he didn't know his family or something like that, and he was raised by Black America. Like it got really weird, and I guess now we're finding that immigrants are using New York as their ethnic group, and that's just simply not the case. So that's one way to tell a tether from a foundational Black American from New York. Black Americans will use our ethnic group. We're not going to just say New York and leave it there. Okay, I just wanted to point that out. They're getting really weird and they're trying to be really crafty, and so we have to stay 10 steps to the game. That's all I wanted to
Thank you,
call out.
BX.
See,
That's true.
LA Cutie Pie is saying, "Yup, he was an orphan. He had an orphan story." I guess we beat that orphan story out of him, not literally, but it wasn't flying. So now he's trying to use New York as his ethnic group. I believe he was being sneaky about it, Afro.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's get to Anthony.
Hey, peace to the space. My mother is from Tennessee, and my father is from Atlanta, and I'm from the SWATs, Southwest Atlanta. Born at Grady Hospital.
Oh boy. I
Peace to
heard
the
about Grady
space.
Hospital. Oh boy.
Yes, they were playing dominoes and drinking Hennessy when I was born, where I was born at. But anyways, I think, what I haven't heard so far is that, as the vice president, she was hiding out. I mean, and she didn't vote in the primaries. I think that's a big thing. But the most important thing that I haven't heard so far is traditionally Democratic blue states that Joe Biden won in 2020 was lost in 2024. What was it? Michigan, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, Georgia, Arizona, and there's one more, Nevada. So, and the biggest ones was Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Wisconsin. That's the blue wall. So I think when you're looking at, when you're looking at her whole body of work, she didn't really run on anything. When you look at, I think inflation hurt the incumbents. Many people blame Biden for high prices, and they didn't like the way the country was going. So I just think that she was too closely tied to Biden, and then she waited. And this is what I think, man. And I want your thoughts on this. I believe that they knew in the beginning, before Biden was even up there, that they were going to use him as a sacrificial lamb, so she didn't have to run in the primaries. They knew beyond a reasonable doubt that. I kind of feel like, they knew that. Okay, so she's not a good debater, so let's just put him out there as a sacrificial lamb, knowing that he had no business running, and that was the original plan. Any campaign plan, they plan years out. So I think that the weak support from infringement voters was the biggest reason that she lost, and she just had no clear plan on like the Republicans did on immigration. I think that was a big one too. So I just think that her campaign message didn't overcome economical concerns, like democracy and freedom overshadowed the pocketbook issues that she had. So, that's what I think. But I think the nail in the coffin was, those 6 states that I named with the 3, which was Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Wisconsin, is the fundamental reason why she lost.
Yeah. Well, going back, and that could be true, but let's look at everything. Because going back, Biden had campaigned that he was only going to go for 1 term. Biden said, now think about it, Biden has been the oldest person in American history to be elected as president at the time, right? So it was incredibly rare that Biden was going to be able to get in, but they needed somebody with somewhat name recognition He was the VP for Obama for 8 years. People knew Biden, and they needed somebody to prevent Trump from getting back in so they can take over things. So there was a big push behind Biden. I think it was a kind of grinding your teeth, a begrudging push, but they pushed Biden, thinking that Biden was going to be in for one term, and that in that time we can start to kind of roll out the next generation, the next few candidates, right? Biden picked Harris. I don't think the party ever wanted Harris in the White House like that. And I think when Biden dropped out, I think initially they wanted to have a primary. But when Biden dropped out and he immediately endorsed Harris, and then next thing you know, the news articles and social media blew up, then they were all like, it kind of forced everybody to get behind Harris, because you only got 107 days. You don't really got no time to run anybody against Harris. Harris already got a good boost because of what Biden did. So it kind of forced everybody. I think because we have to remember, Nancy Pelosi and Obama didn't immediately endorse her. It took them like a week and some change.
That's true.
In order to finally endorse her. I don't think they wanted her. I don't know if it was Newsom or anybody else, but I think they had their eyes out on someone else, or at least wanted to weigh their options. I don't think that they wanted to immediately be forced to push Kamala. I don't think so. But eventually they had to, because there was really no other choice. That's why they had to skip the primary and everything, because then it would make the party seem dysfunctional, disconnected. It would make the party seem like there's a lot of infighting going on, and that's not a good look for a campaign. So I think that the party itself backed her up because there was really no other choice at that time.
Can I say this? I kind of don't believe America was ready for a woman president, period. And I realized that from Hillary. She did not win. She's a white tea woman, and she did not win. I had no doubt that Kamala would lose, no matter who she went up against. But then a lot of other things got thrown in the mix, and I'm surprised. I'm not a unicorn. I don't have one thought that's not similar to at least one other Black American. Did anybody really think she had a chance, even riding the black ticket? With this black experience, or she understood, or she's black too. If they weren't ready for a white woman, what made us think they were ready for the Indian one? Because she's Indian. That's
I just want to say, I definitely want to say, Afro Elite, this is my first time being on your panel, and it's refreshing to hear elevated, political conversations where both sides are allowed to speak. And I just think that, if you really look at the crux of everything, I just don't think that, just based off of her being the vice president, I already knew she was going to take a L, especially, her not utilizing, prioritizing jobs and stuff for the middle class people. It just, I knew that based off of when she started to, debate against Trump, I knew she was going to take a L.
I think they exist in silos, and that's kind of like they position themselves like her political advisors and the people that are supposed to be running the marketing campaigns. They position themselves as the voice of Black America or deeply in tune with us. But these people very much exist in these elitist ideological silos, and they push. They're in the echo chamber, and they push the ideals amongst each other. They didn't just think she was going to win; they believed it was already a sure thing. If you remember back to right before the election, how they were speaking to us, they were pretty much saying she's got this in the bag, and it's because the people they were around, their thought process is vastly different than the majority of the country.
They overestimated a lot of the racial. And here's the thing too: we have to remember, they miscalculated again how the Hispanics were going to turn out. Again. They miscalculated. One of the reasons why Hillary lost is because they miscalculated how the Hispanics were going to turn out for Trump. They completely miscalculated that. And again, they thought with Trump threatening to have ICE come in and deport folk, they thought the Hispanics were going to be on their side. And again, they miscalculated where the Hispanics' loyalty was. They thought all of that pandering was going to pay off when it came election time, and they found out the hard way that they were very wrong.
That was my point
You know
about
what? Hold on
earlier
one
about
second.
the.
And hold on one second.
One moment,
And
Megan
black,
Don, because Candy's been
Okay.
trying to get in there. Go ahead,
yeah,
Candy.
thank you. So in black states, right, and well, black people in those states where she lost. Remember where the sanctuary cities are? All those black people in those states saw blatant racism from the Democrat Party, but it was a different version of racism. Instead of the racism everybody was used to, where it was the white tee and blacks were just disenfranchised and then they were prioritized. No, they watched them do that for illegals. They watched them throw out the red carpet. They watched them give them brand new apartment buildings and set them up with Section 8 and those brand new buildings that everybody thought, okay, now the list is going to open. And then all them illegals that came in here got them. Black people saw the racism with the Democrat Party. States like, like Chicago votes red. I mean, it wasn't enough of them, but in all the other states, we saw it. We knew exactly what the Democrats were doing, and we were not going to let them get in there again and do that to us anymore. I'm telling you, in those battleground states, a lot of black people saw what was going on. It had nothing to do with her being a woman. It didn't have nothing to do with none of that. We didn't like Kamala anyway. But what they were doing was blatant racism. And it was the opposite. It was like what they're doing for the immigrants right now. It's the same thing. It's racism by another name.
Can I just jump in here right quick? So one thing as well with
Wait, hold on. We'll let everybody get their last minute closing thoughts, and then we'll wrap it up because I got to get out of here shortly. So go ahead. You got it.
Megadon or me.
You got it.
Okay, I just wanted to say that the other thing that I noticed with Kamala Harris and things like that with when she ran, I agree with a lot of what HR said, just observing from the very beginning that she was never supported by the DNC. Even when she herself ran for president, I remember when you had all of these candidates that were running for the Democrat ticket for president, it looked like a high school yearbook picture as many people were running, and none of them were strong enough candidates. And then that's when you saw that none of them were strong enough to beat Donald Trump. So that's when Joe Biden was brought in. But the interesting thing about her is when she said she would not change any of the policies that was already happening with the Biden administration, they had in their own way acknowledged that that open border policy was a problem. They acknowledged it. And I don't think what they were willing to say publicly was that their way to resolve it was to kind of do like this blanket amnesty for all of these people, and that they were just going to kind of like blanket let these people come in and just let it be whatever it is. Well, they're already here. We'll let them stay. And I think that they probably thought that that was going to be their new voter base or whatever the case may be. And they thought that they already had that election in the bag, and that, hey, we'll just take care of this once we get back into office. And it never panned out that way. And I really do just think that that's what the plan was just to deal with the problem that was already created under the Biden administration, which was the open border issue. And they were just going to do the blanket amnesty, but it was not going to resolve the bigger issue, which was the lack of America first. The fact that a lot of American citizens, it wasn't just ethnic foundational Black Americans that were suffering, but it was all Americans were suffering under these policies where these immigrants and illegal migrants were being prioritized over us. So that part was not going to be resolved by blanket amnesty for these people. And I think just overall, everybody figured that part out. There has to be some other way to put Americans first. And it was not, the Democrat Party has just not demonstrated that that's what they're going to do. And I'll land on that.
All right. Appreciate that. Let's get to Omega Megadon. I said Omega.
Yeah, no. I think everybody was eloquent and laid it out. I was just when I earlier said like they had a Pan-Africanist approach to everything, what you hinted on earlier in regards to the Hispanics was what I was referring to, where we're one ethnic group that votes consistently as a block, and the Hispanic population is made up of several different ethnic groups to varying degrees, but they're operating as if they're one group of people. And that's a huge mistake that I was pointing out and agreeing with you on.
Yep, it's true. Thank you. Pretty much, yeah. Okay, and because they thought that they had the Hispanics there, they thought the Hispanics can substitute the black vote, and they keep trying that, and it
Correct.
doesn't work. It never does. It never does. Appreciate that. HR, you got it.
Yeah, I was just going to say real quick. Look, what's going to have to happen is these parties, whether it's the Dems or the Republicans, are going to have to do, or even if it's an independent, even if it's a, I don't know, a new black party, I don't know, whatever. But they're going to have to do for black people what they do for everybody else. They're going to actually have to, do something economically. And if black people are unprotected, they're going to have to actually give protections and then enforce it and all the other stuff. It's just what is happening now. What I see is that you got a lot of black people who are getting more savvy about politics, and we're not listening to, the Republicans are stopping me and we can't get stuff done. The Democrats are stopping me and we can't get stuff done because we're just watching it happen for everybody else. See, that's the issue that I would have. If everybody else is getting protections, the government is working for all the other racial groups and special interest groups, why can't it work with black people? If everybody else is getting billions in, economic funding and economic initiatives and, stuff, even just for crossing the border, then why can't black people get anything? See, people are not answering that effectively. So if you want black votes, then just do something that's going to actually produce something positive and show some economic and forward progress, and that's going to help the group. That's really all you have to do. If you're not going to do that, then I'm not sure why anybody would vote for you, no matter your party. I'll go ahead and land.
All right, yeah. All right, appreciate that. Yeah, that's true. Thank you. Let's get to Candy.
I was just gonna say B1, and like we said before, blah blah blah, cut the check. What happened was after Kamala's campaign, we realized something. Oh, so you're not gonna even ask us to vote for you? You're not even gonna try to give us anything that you're gonna do for us? Okay, fine, don't worry about it. Don't ask us for our vote because we're not coming. You're not doing nothing for us, we're not coming. So after Kamala lost, we've been on this ever since. No tangibles, no vote. Reparations or no vote. And we want it up front. And we've been like, blah, 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 cut the check. B1. And I land.
Thank you very much. Black first to you, sister. Appreciate that. Y'all make sure y'all go to For the Culture on YouTube. If you guys are on YouTube, hit that subscribe button on YouTube. Hit that like button. Share it. Leave a comment. Let me know what y'all think in the comment section on YouTube. And if you guys are on TikTok, follow me so that way y'all don't miss out on anything. And then go to YouTube. And then go to For the Culture. And then press that subscribe button. And then click the video. And then press that like button. In that order. Thank you. BX, can you close us out, please?
You know I can. Now you know I gotta ask you, Afro, before I give my final thought. Will you be coming back tomorrow? Because guess what? Monday's June 1st, everybody.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I want to come back tomorrow. I want to come back tomorrow so we can have our conversation before we get to the State of the Union. So, yeah, then I can release my stickers. State of the Union.
Y'all go ahead and get your super fan subscription, okay? I know a lot of y'all have paydays, but for the first of the monthers, it's the first of the month. Go ahead and get your super fan subscription. I don't know what it to say after that, and I'm from the Bronx. Can't even drop a hot 16, y'all. I got work to do. But this was a very good live. Some of these lives tend to go left, especially when KH is mentioned. I don't know what it is. I think we're coming from under that Democratic spell. They had 60 years to get it together. Immigrants, their numbers here, their presence has not significantly helped the foundational Black American community. We want civil rights by ourselves, and winning reparations will be no different, except they're in our way. They're voting no to our repair. And they're on both sides of the aisle. Brian Donalds, Republican. Wes Moore is what? Democrat. Kamala there is a Democrat. We have work to do, and it would be very much easier if they just moved and got out of our way. So that's all I got to say. I like the way the live turned out. The young man said, everybody was able to give their insight, and it didn't go left. And that's all we could ask at this time, because for some reason, They see a Democrat on the prompt, and we got to talk about Republicans.
Yeah, and that happens every
Yeah.
time. It's always, but also you agree with Trump, huh? You just love Donald Trump, huh? That's what it turns into that every time. And we just didn't, it would have turned into that if we allowed it, but we didn't. So that's why.
Yeah,
But
but
thank
I'm
you.
with Candy. Blah, 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 cut the check. And listen, guys. Trump could run for vice president in 2028 if he's saying it. Still living because they be trying to attack that man. But yeah, America first, America always, America shall never fall. You hear me, Pan Africans? Just had to poke at them, but I'm done. I'm done. You know I could go all day after
All
them.
right.
All right, peace. Be one family.
All right, first.